Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah, amma ba'd. So this is my class. This is not classic, this is not fundamental of Arabic language. This is my class. What are you doing? It's another class. It's hadith class.
Yes, sir.
Sheikh Zoya, read.
عن أبي ذر جندب بن جنادة وأبي عبد الرحمن معاذ بن جبل رضي الله عنهما أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال
عن رسول الله.
عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال
Why Rasulillah?
كتب عنه
Exactly.
اتق الله حيثما كنت وأتبع السيئة الحسنة تمحها وخالق الناس بخلق حسن.
نعم. رواه الترمذي. Yes.
وقال حديث حسن وفي بعض النسخ حسن صحيح.
So did you find out what's the answer of Hasan al-Sahih? It's on the videotape too. This is not some sort of a plug, but I do think that all of you have this book here by Sheikh Farhan Zubairi, wafaqahullah, and I would not be surprised if he talks about it in here somewhere. Let's see here. Allahu musta'an. Jami Tirmidhi, number 39. طيب. First of all, Hadith Hasan technically is a narration that meets the conditions of a Sahih Hadith, except there is some weakness in the accuracy of one or a few of the narrators. That's Hasan. Or what's the meaning of Hasan Sahih?
Hasan, which has been bumped up to Sahih.
La. Hasan Sahih. Nobody else? MashaAllah. Nobody else? You all have are you taking Hadith studies? Are you taking this class or no? Answer the question.
We did earlier.
Huh?
We did earlier.
You did earlier. طيب. Yeah, Ahmed. What did I say last week about Hadith studies and what have you? What did I say about that? What does it consist of?
Study of the Isnad and the Matan.
Study of the Isnad and the Matan. Hadith studies consist of study of the Isnad and the Matan. It is not just simply getting some terminologies, putting it in the bookshelf to see you later. That is not Hadith studies. That is collecting a book. Tamam? This is my third time asking what's the meaning of Hasan al-Sahih from one of the greatest hadith scholars of our tradition. His name is Abu Isa al-Tirmidhi alayhi rahmatullah, and yet and still no one has yet to tell me anything about it. فَإِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. If I don't get an answer by Wednesday, I'm going to give everybody, level 1 and level 2, a big fat 0. I'll make sure that you get nothing less or nothing more than a C in your class. This is not a threat, this is a promise. I want this answer by Wednesday. Do I make myself clear?
Yes.
طيب. That includes the people who are listening to this video as well. طيب. Last class we talked about the two Sahabi, Abu Dharr and also Mu'adh ibn Jabal. May Allah be pleased with both of them. And now we're going to look at. We also discussed some of the ruwat or narrators of the isnad of Abu Dharr. If you may not have noticed, the Prophet alayhi as-salatu was-salam said, "Ittaqillaha haythuma kunt." Why didn't he say kuntama? Meaning two.
He probably told them separately.
Exactly. Told them separately. Right? Told them separately. So there are two isnads. One solely with respect to Abu Dharr, another one with Abu Abdurrahman Mu'adh ibn Jabal. May Allah be pleased with both of them. Do you have a question, sister? You sure? طيب. Alrighty. With that being said, let us look at the following. Sometimes hadith have the following. They have a sabab for its wurud. Al-Hadith al-Thaman Ashar, which is the one that we're on, the 18th hadith and the 40th hadith. And there's a subtitle that says Sababu Wurud al-Hadith. Let me make it bigger for you. Sababu Wurud al-Hadith. Sababu Wurudi al-Hadith. Sababu Wurudi al-Hadith. Sababu Wurud al-Hadith. Sometimes there are ahadith that have been recorded upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where there's a reason why he said what he said. There's a reason why he said what he said. Like the hadith, "Innamal a'mal bin niyat." There's a reason why he said that. Likewise, there are reasons why the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Ittaqillaha haythuma kunt." Alrighty? But what are those reasons? Let's see. So sabab means reason. Wurud, mentioning. From warada yaridu. Al-waw, ra, dal. Warada yaridu. This is from the verb. Oops. Erase. Warada yaridu, meaning to mention, right? Amongst other definitions that it may have.
الثامن عشر is that 18?
الثامن عشر is 18. That is correct. الحديث الثامنة عشرة or عشرة. Both are correct to say. Notice I did not say الثامن. I didn't say الثامن. I said الثامنة. Why is it a fatha if this is a dhamma? Have you studied numbers? Have you studied numbers? Have you studied numbers? Have you studied numbers? Yes or no? You have?
It's one time only.
Only one time only. طيب. So you have to study numbers. You too. You study numbers? You study numbers? Or shall I say, have you been introduced to numbers? Is that the more accurate thing to ask?
We studied it once with you.
Once with me. MashaAllah. Studied once with me. Many moons ago.
Many months ago.
Many moons ago. Allah understand. طيب. Anyway, Numbers in Arabic can either be mu'rab or mabni. Mu'rab or mabni. Mu'rab or mabni. Have you heard these two terminologies before? Beautiful. Numbers that are mabni are from 13 to 19. 13 to 19. They don't change whatsoever. When? That's the question. Alright. So we have here the reason why الثامن عشر is fatha is because it's mabni, whether it be a sifa like it is here or not a sifa. As you can see, الثامن عشر is a sifa. It's a sifa. It is not talking about ثمانية عشرة. Alright? It's a sifa. Nevertheless, it is considered to be mabni, not mu'rab. Hence, it's mabni ala al-fath or al-fath. Al-fathi, if you want to continue. You with me, Shaykh? Are you with me, Shaykh? Are you with me? Alhamdulillah. طيب. The a'dad or numbers require a separate lesson. If I have the time, I'll go over it with you, because at year 2, it is essential that you know this information. Are we good so far? طيب. So what's the reason why we have the hadith mentioned? Let's see here. اقرأ يا أحمد.
بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله.
عن أنس بن مالك.
عن أنس بن مالك قال
رضي الله عنه
قال بعث رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم
السلام
معاذ بن جبل إلى اليمن. Yeah. But isn't there a kasra? Or am I
Yeah, it's down there.
It is down there, right?
Yeah.
إلى اليمن فقال يا معاذ اتق الله وخالق الناس بخلق حسن وإذا عملت سيئة فأتبعها حسنة. قال قلت يا رسول الله لا إله إلا الله من الحسنات. قال هي أكبر الحسنات.
طيب. First, the reading of it. Mu'adh said, Ya Rasulullah, La ilaha illallah min al-hasanat, like a question mark. Okay? In other words, it's saying La ilaha illallah from the hasanat. قال صلى الله عليه وسلم هي أكبر الحسنات. طيب. There's a reason why Mu'adh ibn Jabal has been recorded in saying that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Ittaqillah haythuma kunt." What's the reason? There it is right there. What's the reason?
When you do something bad.
Huh?
When you do some bad deed.
Now, what's the reason why the Prophet said the statement? What's the circumstance behind the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying this to Mu'adh?
So that when you teach them La ilaha illallah, they can see it coming from your character.
So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam ba'atha Mu'adh. He sent Mu'adh where? To Yemen. Very good. Very good. All right. The circumstances behind Mu'adh ibn Jabal being recorded saying that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Ittaqillah haythuma kunt." It's because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam sent Mu'adh to Yemen, radiyallahu anhu. Do you know why he went to Yemen?
To be the governor? Or
Well, he couldn't be governor unless he did something first.
To teach the people that.
Exactly. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you can find this in Bukhari Muslim, where the Prophet alayhi as-salatu was-salam told Mu'adh, إنك ستأتي قوما أهل الكتاب. You're going to come across people, meet people who are أهل الكتاب. فأعلمهم أو فليقول أول ما تقول لا إله إلا الله. Let the first thing you say be لا إله إلا الله. يعني teach them لا إله إلا الله. فإذا عرفوا ذلك فأعلمهم أن الله قد افترض عليهم 5 صلوات في كل يوم. Once they know that, they understand that, they have accepted that, teach them that Allah has made 5 prayers obligatory upon them. Then the zakat. Follow that? So the reason why, one of the circumstances behind the statement اتق الله حيثما كنت is because of the fact that Mu'adh radiyallahu anhu was sent to Yemen, da'iyan awalan, to be a da'i, to call people to Islam, and eventually be the Amir of Yemen. We clear? Huh? Write this down. The tariqah in my class, if you want to pass my class, this is for next year inshallah ta'ala, is very simple. Listen, understand, write. استمع, افهم, اكتب. طيب. I hope you listen on the video. You better be listening. You're not listening, I'm going to get you. Inshallah. In a good way. I'll admonish you. Maw'idah hasana, inshallah. Make sure you take notes. This is very critical. As you will have, and your final, this is for my level, my year 2 class. Your final exam is comprehensive. Make sure that you understand everything that we're talking about. Hey, now. طيب. Finish writing. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. Finish writing. Alhamdulillah. Who's not finished? Finish it. Finish Ahmedu.
No.
Finish. Alhamdulillah. طيب. That's Mu'adh bin Jabal. طيب. ما شاء الله. ما شاء الله ما شاء الله. شيخ زويا اقرأي.
عن أبي ذر قال
رضي الله عنه.
رضي الله عنه قال قلت يا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أوصني. قال إذا عملت سيئة فأتبعها حسنة تمحها. قال قلت يا رسول الله أمن الحسنات لا إله إلا الله. قال هي أفضل الحسنات.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
I'm sorry, I was a bit sheikh.
لا بأس خير إن شاء الله. Once you get here safe and sound. أي نعم. أي نعم. طيب. ها أبو ذر رضي الله رواه الإمام أحمد رحمه الله تعالى. أبو ذر عليه رضوان الله تعالى say يا رسول الله advise me أوصني. Then he say إذا عملت سيئة فأتبعها إلى آخر الكلام. And then Abu Dharr asked him يا رسول الله أمين الحسنات لا إله إلا الله. قال صلى الله عليه وسلم هي أفضل الحسنات. الله أكبر. And the other hadith is said what? أكبر الحسنات. This one أفضل الحسنات. Hadith number 18. Hadith number 18. Hadith number 18. اي نعم. ها يا شيخة اقرأي. The other hadith.
عن أبي ذر رضي الله عنه قال قلت يا رسول الله علمني عملا يقربني من الجنة
الله.
ويباعدني من النار.
الله.
فقال إذا عملت سيئة فاعمل حسنة فإنها 10 أمثالها.
الله.
قلت يا رسول الله لا إله إلا الله من الحسنات. قال هي أحسن الحسنات.
رواه الطبراني. الله أكبر. ها. So we have here that the hadith اتق الله حيثما كنت. And to the end of it, we find that these two Sahabi were advised in two different situations the exact same advice. So we have here, for example, إذا عملت سيئة فأتبعها حسنة تمحها, similar to the original hadith, right? And then this one right here, we have this one, all right? Now then, these two narrations only have what? The issue of following an evil deed with a good deed. That's it. Mu'adh's hadith consists of the three. Am I right or am I wrong? Yes. Except for, yes. All right, you see that? It consists of, the ittaqillah, the khaliqin nas bi khuluqin hasan, also following an evil deed, following up with it with a bad deed. See that? See that? You see that? طيب. Alright. Yeah. It's a hadith from Abu Dharr radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. You can either write it or take a picture. Do one of the two. Surah. Don't put me in the picture. You're not. Alhamdulillah. Some other benefits from the hadith as well, before we move on. Number one, as we mentioned in this class before, with respect to hadith studies, you understand that yes, it is possible that the Prophet ﷺ may have said something more than one time to different sahabi. There's no harm in that. There's nothing wrong with that. All right? That's like, you talking to somebody and another person gives the exact same advice to them. Nothing wrong with that. Happens all of the time. All right? So if it happens all the time between two people, why would people say, well, there's something wrong with the sunnah then? Because he taught to more than one person, as some people claim. That's jahl. That's ignorance. Anyway. The second thing is that the issue of La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah being the best, most excellent, greatest hasana. Saying La ilaha illallah. Kalima at-tawheed. Kalima at-tawheed. The other thing we learn from this as well, before we move on, and specifically let's look at the Mu'adh hadith. So Mu'adh was sent to the Prophet alayhi as-salatu was-salam, and he was reminded about how to conduct himself before talking to people about this deen. Again, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, with regards to the Mu'adh hadith, and I gave you the other context that the Mu'adh was sent to Yemen to give da'wah, to talk to the people about the deen. He reminded him, this is how you're supposed to conduct yourself if you want to talk to people about the deen. Why do you think, brother, we have an issue where people may think that Islam is the truth, but they got a problem with Islam because of the actions of the Muslims? You ever think about that before? You know how tiring it is to tell someone, well, you got to separate between Islam and the actions of the Muslims. That's really tiring. I mean, it's true, but it's tiring. Nevertheless, if people would simply practice the deen, basics, not, have, some high-level degree in usul al-fiqh or something like that. No, just simply practice the deen. You know what I'm saying? We wouldn't have this issue right now. It's another layer we got to unpeel before we talk about Islam. Anyway, note that the Prophet alayhi as-salatu was-salam gave him steps as to how to conduct himself so as, inshallah, that would give him success bi'idhnillah in talking to the people about the deen. And Mu'adh asked him, what about La ilaha illallah, dhikrullah subhanahu wa ta'ala, alright? Which anybody itself is a subtlety that if you're going to represent the deen, then you should be amongst those that do dhikrullah. Another thing. Now let's move on to the hadith of Abu Dharr radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. The second one particularly. Or we can use the first one as well. The man sought advice from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And in another hadith we find he asked him to teach me something that will have me come closer to Jannah and stay away from the fire. La ilaha illallah. That's fiqh. That's fiqh. If you want to know what fiqh is to understand what brings a person to get into paradise or closer to Jannah. We ask Allah for Jannah, and to keep us far away from the fire. We ask Allah to protect us from the fire. Ameen. هذا هو fiqh. As we mentioned in the previous class, for those of you here in this class, we mentioned that Abu Dharr was amongst the first to accept this deen. In the riwayah it says that أنا خامس الإسلام. I'm the fifth person in Islam. The fifth person to accept the deen. So he accepted the deen a long time ago relative to Mu'adh ibn Jabal. Mu'adh ibn Jabal was of the, what was he, ya Shaykh? He was Ansari. Yes, he was Ansari. Alrighty? So Mu'adh was accepted Islam in Medina. Abu Dharr accepted it in Mecca. Alright? So Abu Dharr was ahead of Mu'adh with respect to accepting the deen. Nevertheless, we find that both of them, mashallah, benefited tremendously from this hadith. Mu'adh died before he was 40 years old. He was 37 approximately when he died. However, he was considered to be the most knowledgeable of the halal and the haram. So for those of you who still got some youth about you, let that sink in. Now, let me know when you want me to continue, or when you're ready to continue. I hope you listen to this on the video. Ready? Yes, ya Ahmed.
الفقه علم يقربك من الجنة ويباعدك من النار.
Very nice.
Okay.
صح.
No.
ما شاء الله.
يباعدك, right? Just like how
أيوه.
يباعدك.
أيوه. Any questions? Continue. Bismillah. The first sentence. اتق الله حيث ما كنت. The first sentence in the hadith. اتق الله حيث ما كنت. طيب. That's the first sentence. Alright, we're going to talk about that. You understand? And primarily we're going to talk about this right here. We're going to be talking about that right there. طيب. For my year 2 students, ittaqi, what is that? What is ittaqi? Huh? فعل أمرا. صح? What's the original verb? Huh? The original verb. Good try. The original verb. اتقى يتقي. اتقى يتقي. Huh? Very good, mashallah. طيب. However, of course, going back to the original 3 letters would be the waw, qaf, and al-maqsura. Waqa yaqi. Coming from waqa yaqi. Waqaya. From waqa yaqi waqaya. You have seen this verb, you've seen this in its original state. قال الله تعالى يا أيها الذين آمنوا قوا أنفسكم وأهليكم نارا. Ready? Hina, that verb there means you protect your family. Ittaqi means protect yourself. Understand the difference? Understand the difference? Alhamdulillah.
So just qaf, wow.
Qaf. Huh? Where you at? Where you at? For what?
قوا
أنفسكم. There you go. قوا. And if I wanted to command someone to protect, I said qi. Qi. I said qi. Qi.
Qaf with the kasra?
Yes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And of course, Allah is addressing all the people that believe in Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. قوا أنفسكم أنتم كلكم. Y'all get me? You with me? Alhamdulillah. طيب. Who this? مين؟ وعليكم السلام ورحمة. مين هذا؟ حمزة عباس؟ هلا حياك الله. وعليكم السلام. طيب. Let's move on. First thing. يا أحمد.
نعم يا شيخ.
Read the title. What's it say?
معنى التقوى وفهمها عند السلف.
أيوة معنى التقوى وفهمها عند السلف. What that mean? What's the title mean?
The meaning and its understanding of taqwa among the righteous predecessors.
Very good, very good. So what's the meaning of taqwa and how is it understood by the Salaf, by the ancients, the pious predecessors? طيب, y'all with me? Alhamdulillah. اقرأي. The first one.
وقد قيل إن عمر بن الخطاب
خطاب
رضي الله عنه سأل أبي بن كعب عن التقوى.
أحسنت.
فقال له أما سلكت طريقا ذا شوك؟
أحسنت.
قال بلى. قال فما عملت؟ قال شمرت واجتهدت.
أحسنت.
قال فذلك التقوى.
Allah. Where you get that from? Where you get that from? رواه
ابن كثير.
أحسنتي. أحسنتي ما شاء الله. عمر بن الخطاب as Ubay ibn Ka'b. You know Ubay ibn Ka'b? You know Ubay ibn Ka'b? Who is he? Who that? I mean, how you gonna tell me I know whatever? I said, who that? Yeah, we know what it is. Who that? You know what I'm saying? I was like, yeah, I know Jibril. Who Jibril? I don't know. I mean, just look at it. Who is that? Hey, I know him, you know him. You don't know him, you don't know him. Who that, man? Who's Ubay ibn Ka'b? Oh, man. Y'all funny. Anybody know Ubay ibn Ka'b? Who's this man?
Abu Mundib.
This?
Abu Mundib.
So what's so special about him? What's so special about Ubay ibn Ka'b? Anything special about him? I mean, Sahabi, of course. Oh, mashallah, special. But what's like anything special about him? طيب. لا بأس. Look him up, inshallah. Nevertheless, let's get back to...
he was the Jewish scholar who converted, right?
Huh?
The Jewish scholar who converted to Islam.
Are you asking or you telling?
No, I'm telling
Inshallah. Where you get that from?
you. The website.
Which website? طيب.
It's alislam.org.
طيب.
Do you want me to read that?
No, that's okay. That's all right. Don't say you know something you don't really know.
No, I remember reading about it.
Huh?
I forgot.
You forgot. Or were you made to forget? Which one?
That's a good question.
طيب. Nevertheless, Umar asked Ubay, what's taqwa? Now this goes to show you the way of Umar. Umar was the second. He was considered the second Khalifa and considered by Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah to be the second best Sahabi after Abu Bakr. And he's asking Ubay, what's taqwa? Ajib hadha su'al. Then he said, and Ubay asked him, so have you ever walked in a path where it's da shok? ذا شوك. يعني a place, a path that has a whole bunch of thorns. A whole bunch of what? Thorns. Omar said, yeah. So what you do? What did you learn? He said, shamartu. Yani he took his glasses, grabbed his clothes close to himself. Wajtahadtu. He was real careful as to how he walked. Real careful as to how he walked. فَقَالَ أُبَيْ فَذَلِكَ تَقْوَى. That's taqwa. Alright? Note the teaching style here too. Note the teaching style. Taking something abstract and making it concrete. Taking something abstract and making it concrete. Notice that. That's the style of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, by the way. That's the style of the Messenger Muhammad alayhi as-salatu was-salam. Nah, mashallah, mashallah, mashallah. So the concept of taqwa is what? Is what? Is what? What's the concept of taqwa then? Huh? Is what? If you gather your clothes real good, okay, forget about a bunch of thorns. I don't got no thorns around here. A muddy place, a muddy road, mashallah. You got your best clothes on for Eid. You're looking sharp. Got your brand new abaya on. Rocking the brand new shoes. You know how it is. And then subhanallah, they go to musalla right there and they go to mud right there. I'm going to get around this joint. Huh? You're going to figure out a way how to do that, right? You're going to try your level best to keep your gear looking fresh. Right? Looking nice and clean, right? Huh? So you're gonna be looking around, you're gonna be trying to find the best way to keep yourself looking good, right? How the taqwa. That's the concept of taqwa. Taqwa don't mean fear, as people like to translate. It don't mean fear. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. على كل حال اقرأي يا شيخة. اقرأي. أنت.
قال طلق بن حبيب إذا وقعت الفتنة فأطفئوها بالتقوى. قالوا يا أبا علي وما التقوى؟ قال أن تعمل بطاعة الله على نور من الله ترجو ثواب الله وأن تترك معصية الله منصوب معصية الله على نور من الله تخاف عقاب الله.
أحسنتي بارك الله فيك ما شاء الله. أحسنتي بارك الله فيك ما شاء الله 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 ما شاء الله. طيب you get a B- in my class. That's okay. فأطفئوا إذا وقعت الفتنة. طلق ibn Habib, very famous person as well, mashallah. إذا وقعت الفتنة يعني إذا كانت فتنة إذا وجدت فتنة. Fitna exists when fitna exists. Are we in fitna right now? Are we in fitna right now?
Yes.
I think we're in fitna right now. If we're in fitna, فأطفئوها بالتقوى. You know, أطفئوها, extinguish it. Literally to extinguish it. As if fitna is fire. As if fitna is what? Like nar. Sallallahu salam. Wal afiyah. Huh? So the idea of fitna is that fitna is like heat, like a flame, fire. Ma'udhu billah. فَأَطْفِئُوهَا بِالتَّقْوَى. So extinguish it with taqwa. So they asked Talq, Ya Aba Ali, that was his kunya. Abu Ali was his kunya. You know, Abu so and so, so and so. So they asked him, well, Abu Ali, what's taqwa? Then he gave the definition of taqwa. أن تعمل بطاعة الله. What that mean? أن تعمل بطاعة الله. What that's supposed to mean? What that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean?
That you follow ta'atillah. You follow the commandments of Allah. Or do righteous deeds.
So you have two types of amal. You either do it either by disobeying Allah or obeying Allah.
Ta'a is obeying.
Alright? So, and ta'amala bi ta'atillah, right? To act in accordance to obeying Allah. Ala nurin, based upon nur min Allah. Ala nurin min Allah. Ish hada nur? What is this nur? What's the nur that Talq is talking about?
Quran.
The Quran. That's right. That's it. And the Sunnah Muhammad. Thank you. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ahsanti. Right? To do actions based upon obedience to Allah Azza wa Jal. Coming from the nur of Allah. Al-Quran nur, was Sunnah nur. Yani you do stuff based on Quran and Sunnah. You're obeying Allah Azza wa via Quran and Sunnah. Tarju. What's mean tarju? Hoping. Yes, hoping. Thawab Allah. Hoping for the thawab, the reward of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Doing something in accordance to the deen, the Quran and Sunnah, with the hope of getting rewarded from Allah Azza wa Jal. That's what we're doing right now, Ramadan, ain't it? Is that what we're doing? Or are we just doing it so we can just, tell people I'm fasting. Hey, Mr. A Bill, non-Muslim, I'm fasting. Oh, that's great. No, man, that's not why you're doing this joint, man. Am I right? I'm just saying, man. وَأَن تَتْرُكَ مَعْصِيَةَ اللَّهِ. What's ma'asiyah?
Evil deeds.
Yes, itham, sin, right? And leaving literally means the sins of Allah. A'udhu billah from that. Alright? Leaving the sins. Leaving you disobeying Allah. It should be وَأَن تَتْرُكَ مَعْصِيَةَ اللَّهِ, يعني leaving your disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ma'asiyah is disobedience. Disobedience. And leaving disobedience of Allah Azza wa Jal. Ala nurin min Allah, based upon Quran and Sunnah. Takhafu iqab Allah, fearing the punishment of Allah Azza wa Jal. Let me tell y'all something. You take this statement right here, you make that a khutbah, alhamdulillah, you good. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Take that joint right there, you good. That one sentence right there, you make a khutbah. For those of you who are doing khutbah, which I don't suggest you do right now, but if you are forced to do so, or if you have a halqa with the sisters, take this joint right here. That's a good half an hour talk right there. Yakfi. That's enough. Alhamdulillah. Keep it moving. Anyway, so taqwa, according to Talq ibn Habib, consists of the following. It consists of actions, obviously, in accordance to the Quran, doing righteous deeds in accordance to the Quran and Sunnah, hoping for his reward, and leaving disobedience or disobeying Allah Azza wa Jal based upon Quran and Sunnah, at the same time hoping that you don't, you're leaving it fearing that if you were to disobey Allah, you will have an iqab, a punishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's taqwa, man. That's taqwa. Mumtaz.
Sheikh?
Sam. Yes.
Is وَأَن تَتْرُكَ
وَأن تترك, yes.
أن تترك معصية الله.
معصية الله, yes. تترك. Why?
معصية الله.
Why تترك? Why not تتركوا? ليه?
Because it's a pronoun.
لا. Good try.
أن.
Because of an. Because of an. Have you taken mansoob?
Yeah.
So you know that the an with a fi'l mudari' makes the mudari' what? Mansoob bi an. Hey. MashaAllah.
Why is it بطاعة الله?
أيوة. Well,
بطاعة الله.
Because it's
بطاعة الله.
بطاعة الله.
Oh, that's
Because of the ba. And ta'mala. Ta'mala بطاعة الله. Because of the ba. Ba is حرف الجر. حرف الجر. Makes the noun مجرور. يا شيخة, you with me?
Yes, sir.
You sure? Alhamdulillah. Shall I continue?
تخاف عقاب الله.
تخاف عقاب الله. نعم. I didn't put any harakat, I didn't put any tashkil on the thing. I did that purposely, alhamdulillah. Okay?
We got it.
Huh?
But we got it.
You got it, well, she got it, mashallah.
Inshallah.
MashaAllah. MashaAllah. طيب. Shall I continue? Yes. Where we at? Let's see here. أيوة. MashaAllah. اقرأي. The title.
التقوى سبيل النجاة.
Again. التقوى.
التقوى سبيل النجاة.
Najat. Yes, Najat. Yes, very good. Sabilu an-Najat. An-Najat. What's that mean? At-taqwa sabilu an-Najat. What's that supposed to mean?
Taqwa is the way of
Huh?
success.
Taqwa is? I didn't hear you.
Is this way to get success?
Yeah, it's a way of success. That's right. Taqwa is a way of success. Oh yeah? I mean, that's a claim. What's your evidence? Read the first ayah.
إن الله مع الذين اتقوا والذين هم محسنون.
What does that have to do with Sabil al-Najah? What does that have to do with Sabil al-Najah? Explain.
إحسان.
What's ihsan طيب?
The highest level of iman.
The highest level of iman. You sure? What's ihsan? How did the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam define the word ihsan?
It's to worship Allah as if you could
أن
see
تعبد
Him.
الله كأنك
تراه.
فإن لم تكن تراه فإنه يراك. احفظي. Memorize a hadith. Memorize them. أيوة. But first of all, what does the first part of the ayah say?
Allah will be with that person.
Allah is with the person that what? That has taqwa. Isn't that Sabil al-Najah? Of course it is. Of course it is. Absolutely. And those who have ihsan, Allahu Akbar. And those who have ihsan, Allahu Akbar. ها ايوه طيب اقرأي.
ومن يتق الله يجعل له مخرجا.
You ain't done. Finish reading. ويرزقه
من حيث لا يحتسب.
لا يحتسب. طيب. In the Quran, first of all, the first ayah, you know what this is? Huh? No, this is the first ayah. The first ayah. You know what the first ayah is? Do you know where the first ayah is? That's okay, no problem. No one even asked me. Astaghfirullah al-Azim. May Allah guide all of you. Say Ameen. Surah An-Nahl. 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 Surah An-Nahl is number what? 16, yes? Yeah, number 16, yes. Thank you. Jazakallah khair. Yes. Number 16, ayah 128. This one, as you mentioned, وَمَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَل لَّهُ مَخْرَجًا وَيَرْزُقْهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ. What that mean? What does that mean, sister? What does it mean?
And whoever is conscious of Allah,
أيوة.
يجعل له مخرجا. He is made, I don't know.
Ain't no, I don't know, try.
يجعل له. He جعل is making, right?
طيب.
له for him.
It means for him مخرجا. What's مخرج?
خرج.
You see that sign right there? Look up, look. What that say?
Exit.
An exit, yes. Literally, exit means makhraj. Alright? Makes him a way out.
Way out.
Makes him a way out. Way out of what? Out of what? Out of what? The hardship that the person's going through. وَيَرْزُقُهُ. Finish.
ويرزقه and he is provided.
And he provides him, yes.
من حيث لا يحتسب, from حيث, somewhere.
من حيث.
From, I don't know what حيث.
That's okay, try.
From حيث.
من حيث لا يحتسب. Who wants to?
لا يحتسب.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? What? Tell me.
From where he doesn't expect.
From where he doesn't expect. Very good, mashallah.
So what does the word حيث means?
حيث. حيث means wherever. Like حيث ما كنت. اتق الله حيث ما كنت. Wherever you are. Have taqwa of Allah wherever you are. Okay? So, getting Allah Ta'ala start making a way out for a person who's having difficult mind. This is sort of talaq. Talaq is a tough situation for people, emotionally, financially, etc., etc., etc. Yet, despite that, if these people have taqwa Allah, Allah's going to make a way out for them and deal with the situation the right way. Allahu Akbar. That's for just family. But what about more than that? Follow? Anyway, is that Sabil Najat? Absolutely. Iqra'i.
وإن تصبروا وتتقوا لا يضركم كيدهم شيئا.
In Surah Ali Imran, ayah number 120. Who can help me out? What that mean? وَإِن تَصْبِرُوا.
And if you do,
If you're patient.
وَتَتَّقُوا. And you're conscious of Allah.
لَا يَضُرُّكُمْ كَيْدُهُمْ شَيْئًا.
Nothing will harm you.
Their plan or their evil plan will not harm you in any way. Billahi ya jama'ah. You know, people screaming and hollering about, you know what I'm saying, Islamophobia and this and the third, and we should be this and the third, and da 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 da. This is Surah Ali Imran. This is where this surah, inshallah, you're going to be reading in Ramadan, bi'idhnillah azza wa jal. This is doing the Ali Imran discuss Al-Badr and also Uhud. That was a tough time for those believers back then. You understand? And Allah has gave them a formula. Look, this is how you're going to make it. You have patience and you have consciousness of me, of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And their evil, shaitanic machinations won't harm you in any way, shape, or form. But we do self-inflicted harm. I like to call it self-inflicted injury, especially here in America. We like to do self-inflicted injury. So, you know, we don't have to worry about sometimes the non-Muslims doing stuff to us. We do it ourselves because we don't have this patience. Wala taqwa, wala hawla, wala quwwata illa billah. Anyway, if we did, then of course part of Sabil al-Najat is what? Not to worry about the evil mechanisms of people who don't want good for the people, especially if they believe in Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
ورحمتي وسعت كل شيء فسأكتبها للذين يتقون.
Surah Al-A'raf, ayah number 156. What that mean? My mercy encompasses all things. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. We got these people talking about, yeah, I mean, you know, Allah this, Allah that, in negative way and whatnot. Allah says it very bluntly, Rahmati wasi'at kulla shay. Yeah, that's a default for Allah Azza wa Jal. Not ghadab, not adhab, not la'ana. La, rahmah, man. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Listen, man, we need to understand Allah Azza wa Jal. Anyway, فَسَأَكْتُبُهَا, the damir, the ha, goes back to what? What does this go back to? It goes back to rahmati. Alright? I will write this for who? For whom? For whom? لِلَّذِينَ يَتَّقُونَ. Very good. لِلَّذِينَ يَتَّقُونَ. This rahmah is for those people that are aware of me, are conscious of me. Is that Sabil Najat? Yes or no? Allahu Akbar. إيش عندك؟ بعدها اقرأي.
You said عيش عندك.
إيش عندك? What do you have?
هو أهل التقوى وأهل المغفرة.
That's in Surah Ish. What surah is that?
It's the last ayah.
It's the last ayah.
It's the last ayah.
That's ayah what? MashaAllah, good. That's ayah what?
It's in the 29th juz.
It's in the 29th juz. Very good. MashaAllah, knock it down, huh?
Qiyamah.
Ish? Qiyamah?
No.
Good try.
Is it Ma'arij?
La. Good try.
Jinn?
Jinn, no.
Every surah.
Yeah, you had Mudathir. Good. So, Allah Ta'ala, huwa Ahlul Taqwa. What is Ahlul Taqwa? What is Ahlul Taqwa?
The people of the taqwa.
He's the people of Taqwa?
Well,
أهل.
we are
Naam. Okay.
the people of taqwa, are people of who receive.
لا يا شيخ لا يا شيوخ.
Are those two ayats after
طيب. Let's see. Let me help you. One of the best translations that I would consider you reading would be Abdul Halim's translation of the Quran. Alrighty? So in Mudathir, he has to find this in QuranHive.com. You can find other websites. This is a very good website, mashallah. It says, He is the Lord who should be heeded. يعني هو حقيق أن يتقي. He is the one who He is the Lord. He is the Lord who should be heeded, the Lord of forgiveness. Alright, Ahlul Taqwa, in other words, He is the one that is the most deserving to show taqwa to. That's what that means here. Okay? And He is Ahlu al-Maghfirah, Dhu Maghfirah, Sahib, يعني الذي يملك المغفرة. He is the one that possesses the forgiveness. فأهل also means possessor. If you say هو أهل المال, يعني هو ذو مال, صاحب المال, الذي يملك المال. Alright, he's the one that possesses. Alrighty? But Mufassirun mentioned that Ahlul Taqwa doesn't mean يعني, that he is he's of the people, he's the people of Taqwa. La. He is the one that deserves to be the most heeded out of everything in this world. Allah Ta'ala. Alright, that's the idea. Alright? Okay. Mumtaz. Alright, Shaykha. Last one. Oh, so wait a minute. So, how was that Sabil and Najat? I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4. The first 4, okay, I get it. How is that possibly like Sabil and Najat? How does that work here? Who can help me out? Why you put that there, man?
Taqwa is connected to maghfirah.
Taqwa is connected to maghfirah. Very good. Excellent. If you're aware of Allah, you're trying your best to have Allah Ta'ala be your focal point as far as consciousness, inshallah you'll be forgiven. وهذا سبيل النجاة. طيب. أيوة. It's in Surah Al-Qamar. Surah Al-Qamar.
إن المتقين في جنات ونهر.
أيوة.
في مقعد صدق عند مليك مقتدر.
الله أكبر. The last two ayat in Surah Al-Qamar. What that mean? إن المتقين, okay, the people of taqwa
are in the gardens and rivers.
أيوة.
And they're sitting.
في مقعد
مقعد is seating.
صدق. Yeah, مقعد is not just مقعد is something very interesting. مقعد is not just sitting; they're stationary.
Oh, station.
Why do you think they call an airplane مقعد? Not kursi. They call it مقعد. مقعد is a chair. صح. What kind of chair? Doesn't move. It stays there. You ever been on a plane? I've been on a plane before, right? On a plane, can you move your plane? You can't move your plane. It stays where it is. Think about that for a minute. Alright? في مقعد صدق. الله أكبر. Anyway, what's مقعد صدق? You don't know? طيب, what should you do if you don't know? You can either ask me or what?
Look it up.
There you go. MashaAllah. Look it up. What's مقعد صدق? I'm gonna go right here to my Quran Hive and see if I can beat you. So the Qamar. Oops.
What number is it?
Al-Qamar. I ain't gonna tell you. This before Ar-Rahman.
Honor. It says
Right.
in the seat of honor with the most powerful thing.
The seat of?
Honor.
Seat of honor. Okay. MashaAllah. Secure in the presence of an all-powerful sovereign. Okay. MashaAllah. Okay. Alright. That's fine. Nice. MashaAllah. Is that Najat? Is that Sabil Najat? طيب. Question. What's the objective of Siyam? تقوى الله عز وجل. تقوى الله عز وجل. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. MashaAllah. Sorry. Alright, very good. Thank you. Here we go. So we have discussed the following so far. We've discussed what were the circumstances behind the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying this sentence. And then afterwards we're now studying the first sentence, ittaqillah haythuma kunt, and we're focusing on taqwallah azza wa jal. Underneath that, we've discussed, or we're now asking questions. First question is, what's the meaning of taqwa, and how did the Salaf understand the word taqwa? And we are now making a declarative statement that taqwa is the way to success in this life and in the hereafter. In this life, and one example is the second ayah. The second and the third one. That's for the dunya. It could also be for the hereafter, obviously. The same thing, for this one as well. And you can make an argument that all these ayat are applicable not just for the hereafter, but for now, but for the here and now. And I'm sure all of us can think about moments wherein we had some hard times, and then next thing you know, Allah Ta'ala opens up a way, mashallah, for something to occur where you have some ease. Alrighty? وَمَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَل لَهُ مَخْرَجًا وَيَرْزُقْهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ. Allahu musta'an. طيب. Any questions? I'm going to continue. Ready? طيب بسم الله. أيوة الله اقرأ شيخ.
بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله
صلى الله عليه وسلم.
عن النبي.
First of all, التقوى سبيل النجاة. We're still talking about سبيل النجاة. أيوة.
التقوى سبيل النجاة.
أيوة.
عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إن أكثر
أيوة.
ما يدخل من الناس النار الأجوفان.
أحسنت.
قالوا يا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وما الأجوفان.
أحسنت.
وما الأجوفان.
أحسنت.
قال الفرج.
أيوة.
الفرج والفم.
أيوة.
قال أتدرون أكثر ما يدخل الجنة.
أحسنت.
تقوى الله.
أيوة.
تقوى الله وحسن الخلق.
أحسنت. بارك الله فيك. All right. We find the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam saying what? That al-ajwafan is the main reason why people enter to the fire. What's the ajwafan? Al-farj, yani the private parts, and the mouth. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله تعالى. Let's stop there for a minute. What's the meaning of siyam? يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام. What's the meaning of siyam? Now my year 2 students should know this, but they may have possibly not reviewed. That's okay. الصيام. What's the meaning of siyam? طيب, you have a linguistic meaning and a technical meaning. Do you not? هكذا. Yes? طيب. So do you know the technical meaning of siyam?
Refraining from food. Refraining from food, drink, and sexual intercourse with Anyone between this time of sunrise and sunset?
Yes, okay, that's the general definition. Refraining from stomach desires and sexual desires from beginning dawn, from dawn to dusk, as NPR has said on the radio. They're gonna have a special podcast, 30 days, mashallah, highlighting Muslims. Mashallah. Anyway. The key word is restraining. Al-imsak. In Arabic, as-siyam means al-imsak, restraining, holding back. Okay? As-siyam, you know. As-siyam, lughatan. Lughatan, al-imsak. I don't have the best handwriting, mashallah. Allah Mashiach had very good handwriting, mashallah. Jibreel alhamdulillah, we had this class called khatt, you know, when you write, you know, and everything. Alhamdulillah, I passed. I just say. Alright. طيب. As-siyam lughatan al-imsak, to restrain. We find this word actually in on the tongue of Maryam. عليها السلام إني نذرت للرحمن صوما. Alright? فلا أكلم الناس فلا أكلم اليوم إنسيا. Nah, Surah Maryam. I won't speak to anybody today. So imsak linguistically means to restrain. Siyam means to restrain. Tamam? And so we have this idea of restraining. Note that here that siyam, the idea, of course, to restrain our desires, both, you know, physically from the eating standpoint and from the desire standpoint. Some of the Salaf have indicated that the more you eat, the more likely you're going to follow your desires. The more you eat, the more likely you're going to follow your desires. Alright? Some of the Salaf have been said that the more you eat, the more likely you're going to follow your desires. And so, of course, this could be some of the reasons why the Prophet ﷺ encouraged the people to don't eat so much food. A third for the stomach for food, a third for the gut, a third for drinking, and a third for nothing. Alright? In any event, we have here, Allahumma musta'an, that two things most likely put people in the hellfire. What you say and something specifically that you do. And being that now we live in a more hypersexual society, this is becoming, wal-'iyadhu billah, something that really we can see more of. It is now weird for someone, it's now ultra weird for someone to be a virgin. It's ultra weird for someone to be celibate. It's ultra weird to even be married. Go figure. Wallahu musta'an.
You can't be celibate, you can't be married.
Allahu musta'an. I mean, this is how it is now. We went from one thing which is okay to now this extreme thing which is really just like okay. I mean, you know, when we act like everything is not connected, everything that's going on in our society is interconnected to one another. You complain about, for example, healthcare. Well, part of the healthcare is maternity and this, that, and the third. Well, how do you can possibly maybe do something about that by encouraging celibacy? You ever thought about that? That's weird. Well, okay, what you want me to do? Okay. SubhanAllah. Pornography business still makes $1 billion every year and whatnot, and they got new ways of doing it. Now they ain't got to do much. You can just, you know, get a YouTube channel. It's all good. You know? So Facebook will kick off Farrakhan and the Ku Klux Klan, these people and whatnot, but they won't kick off somebody, you know, encouraging to take it all off. Go figure. Very weird stuff, man. That's hate speech. So what is that? Okay, okay. Very weird. Hey, this is the belly of the beast, man. Y'all heard me say that before. أتدرون أكثر ما يدخل الجنة تقوى الله وحسن الخلق. Allahu Akbar. Anyway. The two things that mainly that will put people into paradise is having taqwa of Allah Azza wa Jal and husnu and khuluq. Very important though that one works with the other. There's no such thing as separation. There's no such thing as separation. You don't have husnu khuluq, honestly, if you don't have taqwa of Allah Azza wa Jal. Anyway, this is a way of najat, is to have this taqwa and also husnu and khuluq, which is the hadith we're talking about, طيب. You took a picture of this thing, you better have this recorded somewhere. Inshallah. حياكم الله. Excuse me. La ilaha illallah. Shall I continue? Move on. Move on. طيب. أما بعد. طيب. Alrighty. Well, it's now 9:27, so I need to stop here apparently. But before I move on with my life, طيب. First of all, شهر مبارك ما شاء الله. ما شاء الله. علينا وعليكم. Thank you, ما شاء الله. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us tawfiq in this month of Ramadan, month of qiyam, wa siyam, wa sadaqat, wa khayrat, wa barakat, wa qira'ah, wa husn khulaq, etc. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it easy upon us and accept our righteous deeds. رَبَّنَا تَقَبَّلْ مِنَّا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ وَتُبْ عَلَيْنَا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ التَّوَّابُ الرَّحِيمُ. Just a piece of advice. Last night, alhamdulillah, we began night number 1. We're now on day number 1. The night comes before the day. And I would encourage you, of course, to let this be the month of Quran. I know that some of you have, or many of you have working schedules and whatnot and different things going on. But I would encourage you to spend some time to read the Kitab Allah. If you can do khatma, alhamdulillah. If you can't, no problem. But I would encourage you to remember something, that the Kitab was meant for tadabbur. Kitabun anzalnahu ilayka mubarakun liyadabbaru ayatihi. Allah Ta'ala mentions Surah Sa'ad that we have sent to you, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, a blessed book, right? In order to contemplate the ayat, the meanings of it. And there you'll find different ways, some people talking about how they do that. My encouragement for you is to do the following. And by the way, before I go any further, I do not support the idea of reading just by just. La. The Salaf used to read surah. Not just. This right here, these different markings and everything, that came much later on. The Sahaba, Tabi'un, Tabi'in, they did tahzeeb or section of the Quran based upon surahs, not based upon these markings, if you will. So Surah Al-Baqarah, which is the largest surah in the Quran, has, like all surahs, a theme, has a central theme, and it has things based upon that. However you want to look at that theme. Let me give you a suggestion. There were 2 themes I believe that the Baqarah is emphasizing from Allah's message. The importance of al-khilafah, the importance of being a khalifa fil ard. And number 2 is the importance of that being a successful khalifa requires ta'ah, obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when you read Al-Baqarah today, inshallah ta'ala, alrighty? Yes.
What was the second one?
At-ta'ah, obedience. Alif, lam, ta, طاعة ألف عين تاء مربوطة So you read Al-Baqarah, you find right away Allah Ta'ala answers the dua of Fatiha, alrighty? And then talks about what? About this kitab, the Quran, 5 ayat, about who are the muttaqun, first type of people. 2 ayat talking about the kuffar. And then the next 13 talking about the munafiqun. In some way, shape or form you can see where ta'ah fits in that. And then after Allah Ta'ala talks about Ish, He talks about the first command that He tells humanity is what? U'budu rabbakum. There was no command before that. No command before that, subhanAllah. The only command that we have is Ya ayyuhan nas u'budu rabbakum. After breaking down the different types of people, which are only 3 in Islamic thought. In Islamic thought, there are only 3 types of people. You're either mu'min or kafir or munafiq. That's it. That's the manhaj of Quran. That's not some, type of thing here. And I can say probably that's the same thing for all religions. You either believe of that religion, or you're a disbeliever, or you're a hypocrite. That's it. I don't think anybody can actually say, well, you know what, that does make sense. Yeah, as you're a Christian, you're a believing Christian, you're either a non-Muslim, a non-Christian, which means you're a kafir, you disbelieve in that, or you're a nafiq. You fronting like you're a Christian. Same thing with a Jew, same thing with a Buddhist, same thing. Come on, man. So let's not act like these words are, inflammatory. Give me a break. And anyway, then Allah Ta'ala talks about, of course, challenging the people about the Quran. Then He gets to discussion about Adam sallallahu alaihi wasallam and how he disobeyed Allah Ta'ala and what happened to him, and then he repented, alhamdulillah. And then the next after that is about what? Bani Israel and what they did and what they didn't do. So the Khilafah went from Adam alayhi as-salat was-salam 2 generations to Bani Israel. Then they became the Khulafa fil ard, and we saw what happened to them. Ulama talk about the fact why it's important for the mu'minun to really pay attention to Al-Baqarah. Why? Because Al-Baqarah discusses in depth about Bani Israel, which was the largest ummah before the ummah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And so paying attention to what they have done and drawing lessons from that is one of the most important ways for the community of Muslims to make it in this dunya and in the hereafter. Not taking heed to that causes problems, and of course, we all see what happens. Eventually, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala finishes this discussion with about Bani Israel, and then turns its attention to the mu'minun by first establishing the qibla, and then after that bringing the ahkam and the like, etc., with regards to building a Muslim community, building a Muslim nation. And note that when you listen to the ahkam that Allah talks about, note that it's not simply a do this and don't do that. It's also wattaqullah, etc., etc., etc. It's always that thing of obey me so you can do this thing right. So it shifted from Adam being the Khalifa and Bani Israel, and then us, the inheritors of all the prophets, including Sayyid al-Mursaleen Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That's my general idea for you to think about what Baqarah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك والحمد لله رب العالمين. بارك الله فيكم.
How was this assignment from last time? It was defining the nouns.
Oh, mashallah. mashallah. وليعفوا ويصفحوا. الله أكبر. ما شاء الله. ولكتب بينكم كاتب بالعدل. ما شاء الله. أحسنتم. ما شاء الله. بارك الله فيك. ما شاء الله. ما شاء الله.
السلام عليكم.
ورحمة الله وبركاته.
some chairs. Can just get some chairs.
Well, we are 4, 8 girls. Guys, we'll have to figure something out.
Why? There's only 2.
And Ahmed is your 8. So 3.
Oh, are they gonna?
Well, they're bringing a table this time.
Wait, so we're 4 girls plus.
This girl, so we need another one. We could fit in here.
Yeah. so much dua, please.
You need so much what?
Dua.
For? Oh, the therapy.
Is it today?
Yeah, it's not yesterday. Just bring one more if that's
I think I'm good here.
Oh, really? We should.
Why not? Come on, we're all office. Let the guys get in the front. We get all the cozy, the comfy.
I tried to convince Mariam to bring
Yeah, she was the
sofa and put it right here.
You know what? We don't need to grab it. Let's all sit here. Come on, let's sit here. Unless if you guys don't want.
Do you want to put this open? I'll see you in a while.
I'll be like, I'll take off my shoes.
Same. I leave my feet next to me. I can
Yeah, that's how I am.
am.
Yeah, that's how they're gonna look at them. What is she doing? Cozy.
Okay, let's do it on Friday. There's like this big party on Friday.
I'm not expecting this many first year students. Did you just get him?
Weird when I pulled up this morning, so they're like no hardest spot.
When I pulled up, I thought it was Sunday. Where is it? Anyone go to the dinner on Saturday?
Is it gonna be like a iftar night?
I have no idea.
Eating is very fun. Yeah, nobody should.
How was the teacher appreciation?
Because like
Pretty cool.
just that was logistic.
Pretty
not
cool.
Because I was protesting.
But they canceled it, but it's not like.
Yeah.
What was that one?
Not enough rice with peas. They were like,
First day.
How many of them actually had 5 people?
It's the third. So yeah. Just telling you, I read this. So push up.
That was fun. I just looked at it.
My eyes were very heavy. I'm knocked out. I don't think that again. It's actually really teaching.
This is a. Hold on.
Can you go like back to back? Maybe how you cut up. Yeah. Like, this kept getting longer and longer.
It is.
No one's eating snacks today? So I'll pay for it. I'll pay for it today, guys.
Look, don't worry, I'll take it, but I'll save it.
Smart.
No, it has to be eaten now. So
I saw a water bottle and pour away, and I was like, it's water bottles. You also don't have your energy drink. You're gonna get energy today, so.
that's a good point. You know, technically, I live like 43 miles away. You know, Chef Fahad is cool with, you know, if it's 48 miles that they're traveling. So if I could just find 5 extra miles somewhere, maybe if I drive
Take a longer route.
if I'm driving like the opposite direction, then come back, I'll be good. I'm just like, you know, maybe tomorrow I'll find a way to
Circumvent.
go like around. As long as possible.
You said you live in Torrance, huh?
Yep.
Next to Hawthorne.
Huh?
Have you ever been to Hawthorne?
Yeah.
It's amazing. I was raised there.
It's amazing.
I love that mosque. Well, I don't know because I was raised in that mosque.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool. So you have two major mosques in that area. You have Hawthorne and you have Lomita.
I've never been to that.
You've never been. Oh, that makes sense because all the Arabs go to Hawthorne and all the Desis go to Lomita. And I go to both because when I'm missing, my Arab countries, I go to Hawthorne.
See, but the surrounding people like running Lomita are out of a lot of like people who are kind of heads of Lomita are out of.
The main two people are Desi. Huh?
At least the Qadis in Lomita.
Yeah, yeah. But it's very clear. Like in Hawthorne, you have to look for the Desis. In Lomita, you have to look for the Arabs. Right? See? Completely, right?
Yeah. Well, I feel like I'm home over there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Or you feel like you never left.
Yeah. Even when I go there, I was like, that's back.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know, anyone not go to Hawthorne before? You go to Masjid Ansar before? Masjid Ansar in the LA area. It's the Masjid Ansar of the LA.
Masjid Ansar is pretty diverse though.
Yeah, but it's very, very Arab still. Right. Like Masjid Ansar is diverse, but the diverse people, right, at this point they've just kind of adopted Arab culture. No, my wife grew up at Hawthorne too. It's weird.
But it's weird. I never met her there. I told her, I've never seen you there. Like, how did that happen?
Because I guess, you guys should have.
But she knows everyone that I know. The names that she tells me were the names that I was like, yeah, I know where you are. It's like, where were you?
Judgment free zone, but anyone that prayed Tarawih yesterday, what masjids did you pray at? I'm just trying to.
Chino.
Huh? Chino? Claremont? Here. It's far for you.
I was coming from Irvine, so I just stayed here.
Anyone else?
I see why.
Where do you park? Serious question. Serious question. No.
I've been there long enough to find those places where they don't check security guards and stuff like that. There's a place where you park. There's an office center right behind ICY, and you just hop the fence. And then you hop the fence and you're at the masjid.
Wow.
But I don't always do it because there's a guilty conscience in me. I'm just like, other people don't know about this, so I'll just mark it out with some but that's one area if you're ever interested.
I've been thinking about going. Because it's been too long since I haven't gone.
Yeah.
But if I go, I'm gonna call you.
Yeah, sure. Dude. I'll pin drop the place.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna park my car at a safe location, and I'm gonna hitch a ride with you. And we're gonna.
Oh, okay.
Okay. What are you doing? Mehdi, we were asking places that people prayed yesterday, just to kind of. So we got Chino, IOK, ICOI, and Claremont.
Right? I'm confused. What happened?
Where do you go?
Cyprus.
They have the latest shit.
Sheikh Amran is there. We were just asking people different places they prayed.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Corona.
Huh? Corona.
And
Abdullah Arif. Who's leading at Claremont?
A new chef from Jordan.
From Jordan.
Yeah, I forgot his name.
Yeah. I listened to the live stream for a few minutes.
He got spoiled from Sheikh Abdullah, Sheikh Abdullah. It's all amazing.
ICUI, Irvine Center, Irvine.
Do you know? Oh, God.
Islamic Center of Irvine.
You know who's really good? Glendale.
The mystery chef,
Glendale, right? Sheikh Hassan.
He's from Missouri.
Huh? Yeah. Like fire. You guys want to hear some?
Yes.
So what I do when I drive in Ramadan, and I don't suggest this, is that I'm scrolling on Facebook looking for masajid that posted their live. Some masajid do it live, right? So I'm just kind of looking what's there online, right? And right. So I know Sheikh Hassan is at Glendale because he was there last year, right? When I was scrolling, I came upon his fajr. Well, let me just hear his fajr from today because they post all their outlawed salah during Ramadan. But he just killed it in fajr. He just killed it. Okay, so we're going to listen to this for a few minutes, right? I want you to just listen because Fajr Salah, the Imam, he just woke up too, right? So usually the Imam sounds like he just woke up. Even if you pray in Mecca and Medina, sometimes the Imam when he leads, it's dude just rolled out of bed. It's okay. No, but I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. It's okay because they're human beings too, right? But just listen, he'll start very calm. It's Fajr, so very calm. But give him a few minutes and he'll just kind of and it'll be a gradual climb. Right? And just it's nice. Okay? But you gotta be patient. It's Fajr. People are awake.
قل تعالوا أتل ما حرم ربكم عليكم ألا تشركوا به شيئا وبالوالدين إحسانا
I knew you'd like.
ولا تقتلوا أولادكم من إملاق نحن نرزقكم وإياهم ولا تقربوا الفواحش ما ظهر منها وما بطن ولا تقتلوا النفس التي حرم الله إلا بالحق ذلكم وصاكم به لعلكم تعقلون ولا تقربوا مال اليتيم إلا بالتي هي أحسن حتى يبلغ أشده وأوفوا الكيل والميزان بالقسط لا نكلف نفسا إلا وسعها وإذا قلتم فاعدلوا ولو كان ذا قربى وبعهد الله أوفوا ذلكم وصاكم به لعلكم تذكرون وأن هذا صراطي مستقيما فاتبعوه ولا تتبعوا السبل فتفرق بكم عن سبيله ذلكم وصاكم به لعلكم تتقون ثم آتينا موسى الكتاب تماما على الذي أحسن وتفصيلا لكل شيء وهدى ورحمة لعلهم بلقاء ربهم يؤمنون وهذا كتاب أنزلناه مبارك فاتبعوه واتقوا لعلكم ترحمون أن تقولوا إنما أنزل الكتاب على طائفتين من قبلنا وإن كنا عن دراستهم لغافلين أو تقولوا لو أنا أنزل علينا الكتاب لكنا أهدى منهم فقد جاءكم بينة من ربكم وهدى ورحمة فمن أظلم ممن كذب بآيات الله وصدف عنها فمن أظلم ممن كذب بآيات الله وصدف عنها سنجزي الذين يصدفون عن آياتنا سوء العذاب بما كانوا يصدفون.
For more, check out the Islamic Center of Glendale Facebook page.
Glendale?
Yeah, that's fire. That's good. MashaAllah.
Where's the Sheikh from?
Egypt, Sheikh Islam.
So he came just specifically for Ramadan?
This is the second year.
Allah.
They brought him here.
Oh, and this was this morning?
Yeah, that's what Fajr. I was like scrolling. I was like, let me listen to Fajr. Fajr's usually like just. Then I was driving and I was like half asleep. I was like, oh my god, like dude is killing her right now. I was like, is this Fajr? I was like, who leads Fajr like this?
Oh.
Yeah. So, you asked for a list, you can put them on the list.
Yes, sir.
Islamic Center of Glendale, California, Facebook page. Usually have all their tarafi's and stuff. Sorry, just because I'm in the Ramadan spirit right now, I got some funny stories.
Did you hear about the Islamic Center of Burbank? They had a really good shift last year. I don't know if they're
I heard. I never heard him, but I heard.
From Moses too.
I never heard him, but I heard they had.
The Islamic Center of Burbank has a student of Muhammad. He's the one who keeps on coming from Muhammad Jibreel. I think he's a student of Muhammad Jibreel. He's the one they always bring to mass. Yeah, Muhammad Jibreel. Yeah, he's a student of his. The one at the Islamic Center of Burbank.
I was talking to someone that's leading Taraweeh, and anyways, I said something. Then like most masajid, like I don't know, whatever. Like they want their qurra or their hafal to read from like memory and not to read from the mushaf. Right? Anyways, then I remembered an incident that when I used to lead Taraweeh, there was a brother I was leading with, and I can't mention any names, but there was a brother that I was leading with, and on one of the nights he called me, and he's like, "Bro, I don't know it. Like I don't know my portion." Like he had it memorized, but it was really, really weak. He's like, "I don't know it." I was like, "Well, I ain't taking it. Like I ain't doing it. Like so, you better figure something out, right?" And he was like, "I'm gonna hold the mushaf." I'm like, "Look, I'm cool with it. Like fiqhan, I'm cool with it. But it's like the masjid, that's a whole different story, right? Because they're gonna throw a fit, right? But you do what you gotta do, get us through the night. Because I'm gonna do my portion, you gotta do your portion, right?" Like, all right. So I didn't know what was gonna happen. Okay, so the masjid had a really weird setup. Okay, so like let's say the imam leads right here in the middle of the classroom, right? on the left of the imam, right, was these 2 glass sliding doors. Okay? Now, do you know the problem with that?
Everyone will see that he's holding Mus'haf.
Allahu Akbar. See, they don't think like you think, right? If he pulls out a Mus'haf when he's leading, anyone that looks up in prayer and they look at the glass door, they'll see if the imam is holding a Mus'haf. Clear? Right? Because
other than that, they won't see it because
if there's no glass door, as long as the person is not obvious, you can't be holding like a big giant Mus'haf. You have to be holding one of those mini Mus'hafs, right? Yeah. And
that's what Muhammad Mana does.
What? I mean, we all like even like I.
No, I've seen Sheikh Muhammad Mana in Salah at Farouk.
Yeah, he doesn't use the big Mus'haf.
No, he uses the tiny one.
Yeah, he doesn't use the big Mus'haf. He uses the tiny one, right? And like even that's like when I used to lead Tarawih, like if I need to check something between, I would have the small one always on me, right? But yeah, that's the one he uses when he.
And Sheikh Imran has it in his pocket.
Yeah, right. So, anyways, you're gonna use the small one especially if you're trying to get away with it. Like, plus, you gotta hold. Like, if you're not trying to get away with it, it's a little different, right? So, anyways, I finished leading, right, and he's about to go, and I'm like, I really wonder what's gonna happen right now. Cause we kind of had this agreement, like, hey, look, you do your portion, I do my portion, like, we're good, right? So he gets up there, but the first thing that he does when he gets up there, there was a curtain. He closes the curtain. Game over. Game over. It was like the middle of Ramadan. For 14 nights, that had been open. I didn't even think about it, right? To be honest, I didn't even think about it. But he gets up and the brother just closes the curtain. I'm like, oh my God, it's going down.
Did people figure it out?
Huh?
He got away with it?
Yeah, did he get away with it?
Yeah, he got away with it. Completely. People had no idea.
It's so sick.
No idea. But like for example, and like this is like you can tell when a person is reading from a Mus'haf and they're not reading, even if they've memorized it. Yeah. Like you can tell, right? You really can tell. If like what's being recited and like the person's style and stuff, right? So like for me, listening to him, even if like my eyes were shut, I didn't know what was going on. I could have told like he was reading from Mus'haf. But yeah, everyone had absolutely no idea. Like no idea. I think he did it a few more nights. I want to say he did it a few more nights because he was like, I can get over it. But he just went up there and closed the curtain.
That's hilarious.
That's smart.
Yeah, right. I was like, when I got in the first line, I was like, why do you do that? I was like, oh. I was like, I can see.
That's so funny.
Wait, this masjid is local?
Yeah.
Which masjid has a place?
You won't know. And I know stories of people that lead that came upon situations when they had to first memorize the Quran. I know a number of individuals, right, where it was like, it was like a little difficult or a little rough, certain portions. So they were like, I'll pull it out tonight. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So I just remember these stories in the morning and told us. I'm going to send the brother a voice note. I just remember the closing of the curtain. Al-Muhim. Bismillah walhamdulillah wa salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. We're going to do some fiqh and then try to do some Arabic. We don't need that right now. Jayyid. We're on lesson 5. Yes? No. So we had not started wajibat. So let's work our way back. Let's go backwards a little bit. Just review, not like, but just kind of count them off. We started with shurutu salah, the conditions of salah. What are the conditions of salah, Zoya? What What are the Zoya? What are the conditions of salah? Or name a condition of salah. Sorry, let's name a condition of salah.
A condition for starting salah, or
What are shurut of salah?
Yeah,
Ahmed, what are shurut of salah first of all?
The things that, like, if you don't have them, it's completely invalid.
Yeah, so there are things that are not part of the prayer, right?
Mm.
But they're essential to the validity of the prayer.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said?
Timing.
Yeah, so timing usually in Arabic is referred to as dukhulul waqt. Dukhulul waqt, right? The entering of the timing. Okay. At-tahara. At-tahara, right? So there's two. What else? Huh? Okay, facing the qibla. No, not tahrim. Huh? Covering the awra. Satrul awra. Satrul awra. And there's one more. So we named 4, correct? We said the entering of the time, dukhul al-waqt, tahara, satr al-awra, okay, that was the last one.
And then the qibla.
Al-qibla. So once again, there are 5. They are, in any order, purity, at-tahara, right? Dukhul al-waqt, the entering of the timing, satr al-awra, covering the awra, right? Facing the qibla. And the last is the intention, right? And we talked a lot about the intention of the imam and the ma'moom and the munfarid and so on and so forth. Okay. After that, we did the arkan, what you can translate as the integrals, right? Number 1 was tahrima, right? Which is the opening takbir, right? Number 2 is the qiyam, the standing. And number 3 is the qira'ah, the recitation. Number 4 is the bowing, the ruku'. Number 5 is the prostration. And number 6 is للتشهد الأخير. So your notes in English, they say the final sitting.
Did you say lit?
للتشهد. So the final sitting. Right? Number 6 is the final sitting. But number 6, according to Hanafis, is specific. It's al-julusu lit-tashahhud. Like it's that, or it's al-julusu lit-tashahhud al-akhir. It's that final sitting that takes place at the tashahhud, right? But not the tashahhud itself. Right? Technically, according to the Hanafis, the rukun here is sitting long enough, right, that a person could have said the tashahhud, but not necessarily saying the tashahhud, right? When the other madhahib, we said they say that saying the tashahhud is a rukn. Anyone else remember, we covered some of the other madhahib and we said generally there are a few things that they add. Huh? Taslim. Okay, they add taslim, the other madhahib. What else? Al-i'tidal ba'd al-ruku', which is the standing after ruku'. What else? Al-julusu bayna sajdatain, the sitting between the 2 prostrations. Right. At-tartib, the order. Yeah, and that's the big one. Qira'atul Fatiha. Qira'atul Fatiha fi kulli rak'atin. Recitation of Fatiha in every single unit of prayer, right? That's a big one that the other madhahib mentioned. What?
In this book, it has tahrima as as one of the shara'it.
It does?
Yeah. 100%.
Because the Hanafis, they have this opening.
Yeah, but I think they say that there's a difference of opinion between the fact that it's one of the shara'it and one is arkan.
Yeah, he mentions a little caveat here. Yeah. Okay, so after that we go into the wajibat. Right? The wajibat, you can translate are mandatory actions, right? If arkan were integrals, then the wajibat are mandatory actions. And these, like the arkan, they are actions of the prayer. The difference is, if one of these is left out, the prayer is still valid, but it is considered deficient. Now, if it's left out intentionally, then the person is considered sinful, and it becomes necessary to repeat the prayer. Even for the arkan, right? If they're left out intentionally, now if the arkan are missed, like the prayer is deficient and is not valid, right? But once again, if someone leaves out a rukn intentionally, they're sinful. Same thing, right? Now, the wajibat, they're different because if you leave out one of the wajibat unintentionally, then the person has to perform the prostration of forgetfulness, sujood al-sahw, at the end of the prayer. And these are acts of the prayer that have been established through the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So number one is to say the word Allahu Akbar specifically to begin the prayer. To say the word Allahu Akbar specifically to begin the prayer. Meaning that the tahrima has to be said using the expression Allahu Akbar. So the difference between the rukn and the wajibat here for the Hanafis is that they're saying the rukn is that there has to be some form of tahrima. So technically, if you said Subhanallah mistakenly, then your prayer would have started. But because you didn't say Allahu Akbar, you would have to perform a prostration of forgetfulness. Does that make sense?
This is the tahrim or something.
Yeah.
So the rukun is just the opening part of
it's
but
the
the
opening
of the phrase Allahu Akbar is the wajib.
It's the verbalization of the actual phrase Allahu Akbar.
That's wajib?
Yes.
So
But the tahrima in general, the opening of the prayer, that's a rukun. Right? I mean, how can the prayer commence, right, without something to signify its commencement? Does that make sense? How can something commence without there has to be something to signify that it has begun, right? So that's the rukun. But the wajib is to specifically say the phrase Allahu Akbar, right? And this is based on the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. He said that tahrimuha at-takbir. That basically what makes the things tahrim is the things that are permissible but they become impermissible, right? The thing that does that, takes you from that state, is at-takbir, the saying of Allahu Akbar. Number 2 is to recite the Fatiha along with the surah or 3 short verses in any 2 units of the prayer. Once again, it says to recite Fatiha along with the surah. Now you can put that it can be a surah or 3 short verses. In any 2 units of the prayer. You know what that means? Technically, because remember, we're talking from a legal perspective. When they say in any 2 units of the prayer, what does that mean? Like what?
You can do it in the last 2.
Technically, you can do it in the last 2.
In the last one?
Technically. You'd be doing it, it'd be strange, but technically, yes.
Wait, what do you mean by I need to, like, I could do for the first,
Yes.
like, I can, recite things.
So like, for example, in a 4-unit prayer, usually in the first 2 you do Fatiha and then a surah.
Yeah.
And then in the next 2 you just do Fatiha.
Yeah.
Right? So when we say technically it can be in any 2 units of the prayer. So let's say if it's only a 2-unit prayer, then it's going to be in both of the units, right? But if it's a 3-unit prayer or the 4-unit prayer, technically, the first and the fourth.
So why is everyone choosing the first 2?
Because that is the sunnah.
Oh, okay.
Right? And the other madhahib say the first 2. Right? Now, the Hanafis, they add the recitation of Fatiha as a wajib. All the other madhahib have it as a rukn. Right? So they add it. It is a wajib. If a person leaves it intentionally, right, they're sinful and the prayer's batil, it doesn't count.
Oh, they have
right?
to repeat it.
They have to repeat it, right? But if the person leaves it unintentionally, right, then they can make up for it with sujood al-sahw. Clear? And then the thing about along with the surah, right? The other madhahib, they mention that as sunnah. This whole concept of reciting something after the Fatiha in the first 2 units of a prayer, right? They all mention that as a sunnah. So for example, the Hanbalis, if you leave that intentionally, the prayer is still valid. And no sujood as-sahwi, because that's a sunnah, they say. Clear? The Hanafis, they say that's a wajib. So you have to, I believe they're the only madhab that adds that recitation after Fatiha amongst the wajibat. Right? Now, for the Fatiha, obviously there's numerous ahadith. One of the hadith of Prophet ﷺ, he says, لا صلاة لمن لم يقرأ بفاتحة الكتاب, that there is no salah for the one who doesn't recite al-Fatiha, or the opening of the book. And Prophet ﷺ also said, whoever prays and doesn't recite al-Fatiha, then his prayer is incomplete. Right? Now I told you guys that the Shafi'is use these same narrations, right, to not just prove that Fatiha is a rukun, right, but they use these same narrations to also prove that everyone has to recite Fatiha, regardless if it's the Imam, the person praying by himself, which there's no, right, it's not really a difference of opinion, but even the person praying behind the Imam. And then about the surah after Fatiha, the narration says the Prophet ﷺ would recite al-Fatiha and a surah in each of the first 2 rak'ahs of the Dhuhr prayer, and he would make the first unit longer than the and the second shorter, right? And that is generally the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, that even in those units where there was something recited after the Fatiha, the first unit would be longer, the second unit would be shorter in comparison to the first unit. And you see that many times when Imams pray, that the second is not as long as the first.
Does it have to go in order of the Quran as well? Like if you read...
Good question. Does it have to go in order of the Quran, right?
Could you read...
So can you? Yes. Can you? Yes.
Can you what?
Switch, you mean?
Yes. Like can you read can you read Falaq in the first rak'ah and then Baqarah in the second rak'ah? Can you? Yes. Some scholars said it's makruh. Some scholars said it is makruh to do this, right? Would it invalidate the prayer? They said it's makruh, right? Other scholars, they generally said that, look, it's just better to, if you're going to do that, just to follow the order of the Quran. And they kind of didn't say it's makruh, but they just said it's better. Right? And others said it's fine, it's permissible.
What is the consequence of it being makruh? So if
nothing, like the consequence of it, nothing.
Nothing? No, we don't have to repeat it or
no. We say it's makruh, no.
So it's just lesser reward.
Potentially, yes.
Or if someone continues to...
But if someone were, like if an Imam were to do it, you don't go to the Imam and say, hey, like he probably knows he did it, like especially if it was an Imam, right? And like I said, some said that there's no issue with it. Go ahead, sorry.
If someone were to consciously do that repeatedly, knowing that it's makruh, would they be deserving of sin?
If they take that opinion of it being makruh, it's strange to do it. Like when kind of even like you could say at this point, I'd say the minority, maybe I have to go back and check. The minority say that it's okay to do, but still it's strange to do on a repeated basis. Like it's, you know, it's like you're trying to make a point or something. You know, like
you don't do that.
Yeah, exactly, right. And when you do it repeatedly, you might confuse the people. Like when kind of the ummah has kind of, they don't do it that way.
Sheikh, there's makruh tahriman and tanzihan, right?
Yes.
Tahriman is...
Sorry, there's makruh tanzihan.
Tanzihan and tahriman.
Yeah, so makruh tanzihan is disliked, and tahriman is prohibitively disliked. It's like closer to being haram.
And even for that, prohibitively disliked. That there's no consequence. There's no sajid sahwu or anything like that.
Well, we haven't gotten to the makruh.
Okay, sorry.
What you're saying. Let's see. So interesting. Okay. We talked about 3 short verses, right? 3 short verses means like the absolute shortest verse, right? I think No, they're shorter than that too.
Muddathir, Surah Al-Muddathir.
Huh?
Surah
Yeah, there we go. Ar-Rahman 'allama al-Qur'an. Someone's put it into practice before. Ar-Rahman 'allama al-Qur'an khalaqa al-insan. It's shorter. Yeah, right.
It says over here that the shortest are
Is ثم نظر.
ثم نظر ثم عبس وبصر ثم أدبر واستكبر.
That sounds shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I have that too in my notes. ثم عبس ثم نظر ثم عبس وبصر ثم أدبر واستكبر. That's longer.
Would be 3 verses?
Or one long verse that would be equivalent to the size of the 3 shortest verses. Right? Number 3. To do the recitation in the first 2 rak'ahs of the obligatory prayer. To do the recitation in the first 2 units of the rak'ahs of the obligatory prayer. Number 4, to perform prostration with most of the forehead and the nose. Like that's the wajib.
Most of the forehead?
Yeah, like meaning if, like obviously you do it with all of your forehead, but what fulfills the wajib is that most of your forehead and nose is there. That would fulfill the wajib. Right. Now obviously yes, the preferred is all of your forehead and whatever you can, but what would fulfill the wajib is to perform the prostration with most of the forehead and nose. Meaning that the sajda should be complete and it should be performed properly. Right? Number 5. To be still for at least a moment in every integral of the prayer. So the wajib is to be still for a moment in every rukn of the prayer. So all the arkan that we mentioned, that you have to be still in them for a moment. And a moment, the way they define a moment, is that you have enough time to say Subhanallah once. This is the way a moment is defined. You have enough time to say Subhanallah once. So every integral would mean the standing, the bowing, the prostration, the standing after ruku, the jalsa.
SubhanAllah at what pace though? Because technically someone could still be like SubhanAllah.
At like a normal pace.
I mean, some people speak fast, they could just be like SubhanAllah. It's just...
Then they might need to go back and just think about like why are they praying. Okay, number 6. There's no number 6 on your slide, is there?
No.
Okay, so write in number 6. Number 6 is the first tashahhud. The first tashahhud. This is the sitting after the first 2 units of a 3 or 4 unit prayer for the length of time that it takes to say the tashahhud. So it's not the tashahhud again, it's the sitting. The sitting of the first tashahhud. And you find this sitting differentiated from the second sitting, right? Obviously the second sitting is needed to end the salah. Like once again, how can you end the salah with that second sitting, right? But that first sitting, right? Because, and perhaps you've seen this before, the imam's praying, loses count, loses track, and forgets to sit after the first 2 units. Stands up. Once the imam stands up, he doesn't go back to that sitting place, right? He finishes the prayer and then he performs the prostration of forgetfulness afterwards, right? And this happened during the lifetime of the Prophet ﷺ, that Prophet ﷺ, he prayed 2 units in one of the prayers, and it was a 3 or 4 unit prayer, and after those 2 units he did not sit down, rather he stood up immediately, right? And when the people followed him in prayer, and they waited for him when he got to the end of the prayer to say salams, but rather he made takbir and he made 2 prostrations to make up for that sitting. So the second sitting is obviously of greater importance. The first sitting, if it's left intentionally, it's sinful and invalid, right? But if left unintentionally, it can be made up for with sujood al-sahwi.
When you say first sitting, you mean after the 2 rak'ah?
Huh?
2 units, right?
Yeah.
The middle one.
Yeah.
And the final one is the end one.
So you don't have
That's
to
why it's called الجلوس للتشهد الأخير.
Akhir.
Right? And the first one is called التشهد الأول. Right?
So you don't have to redo the rak'ah, you just have to do the.
If you miss it unintentionally,
Yeah.
if you miss the sitting, no.
First one.
Yeah, the first one. If you miss the first one,
You don't have to do what?
if you leave it unintentionally,
Mm-hmm.
so
You don't have to
you,
do another rak'ah.
you don't have to add another rak'ah. No, you wouldn't
Oh.
add another rak'ah. No. Okay, number 7 now is to recite the entire tashahhud in both sittings. Okay, so I want you to think about it like this. Let's think about a 4-unit prayer, right? You have 2 sittings and 2 tashahhuds, right? Each sitting has a tashahhud. Clear? The rukn is the final sitting by itself. Okay? The rukn is the final sitting by itself. The wajib is the first sitting and the recitation of both tashahhuds. The recitation of the tashahhud in the first one and the recitation of the tashahhud in the second one. Clear? So think about it as 4 parts. The only part that is a rukn is the sitting, the final sitting. And then 3 of them are wajibat, which is the first sitting and the recitation of both 2 tashahhuds. Does that make sense? Okay. So number 7 is to recite the entire tashahhud in both sittings. Now there are different narrations of the tashahhud, right? But basically, like the narration that we know is one. Basically, there are other authentic narrations, which are very similar, right? But like kind of once again, like most people are just taught one, and it's kind of standardized itself. But there are other authentic narrations of the tashahhud, right? Ahmed, what's the tashahhud you know?
It has the wows in all of them.
Go ahead, yeah.
التحيات لله والصلوات والطيبات والسلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته والسلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين.
Okay. Anyone? Huh?
عباد
الله الصالحين حرف جر
yes.
وعلى عباد الله الصالحين, right? And then the
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله.
نعم. وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Okay. Anyway, kind of everyone on the same boat on that? Yes? Let's see if we can.
Teach us the different tashahhud.
According to the Malikiya or what?
Okay, so we say okay, right? So that is the narration of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, right? This is the narration of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, the one that he just said. So just once again, التحيات لله والصلوات والطيبات, right? And then it's السلام عليك, not والسلام عليك, right? So there's not. So التحيات لله والصلوات والطيبات السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله.
That's what I learned.
Huh?
That's what I learned.
What I just said, yeah. Okay. Now, the narration of Ibn Abbas, for example, التحيات المباركات الصلوات الطيبات لله. Right? التحيات. So ours was, just so you remember, التحيات لله والصلوات والطيبات. So التحيات, and then right after it was لله. التحيات لله والصلوات والطيبات. In the hadith of Ibn Abbas, you have an added word, right? But also Allah comes at the end. التحيات المباركات الصلوات الطيبات لله. Right? And then the rest is the same, right? Let me. There you go. Here we go. No, okay, so here we go. Hadith of Ibn Abbas, right? Just so we learn. التحيات لله والصلوات والطيبات السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. This is the one we know, right? Or the one most of us use, right? The tashahhud of Ibn Umar. The tashahhud of Ibn Umar. Now.
So this one was Ibn Abbas.
Yeah, I went back now, right? Tashahhud of Ibn Umar, right? التحيات لله والصلوات والطيبات السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. What was the difference between the narration of Ibn Mas'ud and Ibn Umar? Huh? وحده لا شريك له. That was the only difference. That was literally the only difference. Okay? Okay, we'll do this. Tashahhud of Umar. The tashahhud of Umar ibn al-Khattab. Right? It said that he said this upon the minbar to teach the people, just to teach the people tashahhud in general. Right? التحيات لله الزاكيات لله الطيبات لله الصلوات لله السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته والسلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله.
والزاكيات لله.
نعم التحيات لله الزاكيات لله الطيبات لله الصلوات لله. Right?
What is zakiyat?
It's kind of along the same meanings, good things, pure things. And then we did earlier the one of Ibn Abbas, which was التحيات لله التحيات المباركات والصلوات والطيبات لله, and then till the end it's the same, right? So you have these different siyagh of tashahhud. A lot of the scholars said the one of Ibn Mas'ud, right, and you can add to that the one of Ibn Umar are the most authentic, right? But the other ones have been narrated and they have been used in the past. It's just that certain ones got, basically taught more and got popularized, right? And I was telling Mustafa we're gonna bring back the sunnah of do the adhan of
Imam Shafi'i, Imam Malik.
Yeah. Were you there when I said
No,
that?
he told me about it.
Okay.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله.
Yeah. So you go back with higher voice, right? And the only difference between Malik and Shafi'i, Malik does Allahu Akbar twice,
and the Shafi'i does the 4 takbirat.
Yeah. So is it you or no?
No, it was Mustafa.
I was telling him. I think I told Mustafa. I said I'm going to tell Ahmed the next time I give khutbah at Cyprus, I'm going to announce before you give khutbah that we're going to give
the adhan
according to Imam Malik, just to teach the people. Okay, so we said to recite the entire tashahhud in both sittings, and then number 8 is to say the word as-salam, right, twice when ending the prayer. Twice when ending the prayer, and both are mandatory.
So just saying as-salam.
Yes.
As-salam.
That's like the minimum of what has to be said, right? And this goes back to the statement of Ali, right? And we keep going back to this. The key to salah is purity. مفتاح الصلاة الطهارة وتحريمها التكبير. What gets you into the salah is the takbir, and its closing is وتحليلها التسليم, right? That's why, for example, the Hanafis are literal. They say, look, all you have to say is as-salam, because taslim can suffice by saying as-salam, right? Just like in the hadith of eating, right? The Prophet he said, when you eat, say Bismillah, right? Technically, all you have to say is Bismillah. You don't have to say the whole thing, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. But if someone wants to say the whole thing, there's no issue with it, right? All you have to say is Bismillah, right? Now, obviously, we say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim because that's what we've gotten accustomed to in saying it, right? So saying the salam. Now, for example, the Malikis, right? It's only one that is necessary. That's why it says it says in your notes to say the word salam. You can add to that twice, and both are mandatory. Right? To say the salam twice, and both are considered mandatory.
Both sides.
Yeah. It's only one.
Is it the right side or left side?
The right side.
That's why you see that sometimes in
No.
the Salat al-Janazah.
We had Khatib bled here like not last year, a few years ago.
Who?
Khatib, there was a Khatib, he led here a few years ago, and he was like, he told the people, I'm only going to do one taslim.
No way.
Huh?
No way.
You remember that?
That was Imam Dawood Wali.
No, that was not, that was Hisham Mahmoud. That wasn't Dawood Walid. You said Dawood Walid?
Yeah, he was here for the 2018 annual.
Oh, maybe, okay. One second. Oh, yeah, I can't find it. Okay. I can't find it. Okay. And then number 9 is for the Imam to recite the Quran out loud during the loud obligatory prayers. Once again, for the Imam to recite the Quran out loud during the loud obligatory prayers.
What are they called? They have a name, right?
The what?
The loud prayers?
Jahriya, Salat al-Jahriya. So there's Jahriya and there's Sirriya. Jahriya is that which is done audibly. Which would obviously be the 2 for Fajr, the first 2 for Maghrib, and the first 2 for Isha. One more, hold up, one more. Add number 10. Add number 10. Number 10 would be at-tartib, the sequence. Meaning that all the fard, all the arkan. So when we say fard, according to Salah, we're talking about the arkan. Okay? So all the fard, all the arkan, and all the wajib acts are done in their proper sequence. And this is taken that the Prophet ﷺ, he always prayed in a particular order. And when he forgot something, he did the prostration of forgetfulness. So all the fard and wajib acts have to be in their proper sequence. Look, so now he's going to go through, so I mean we already went through them, but so look, he's going to go through them, we'll go through them again. So number 1, say the words Allahu Akbar, meaning the tahrima has to be said using the expression Allahu Akbar. If it is done with words other than Allahu Akbar, the prayer will be valid, but obviously there has to be a prostration of forgetfulness, right? Talked about that. Let's do this. We talked about Fatiha along with the surah. Talked about all that recitation in the first 2 units, prostration with the forehead and the nose. Tashahhud. Okay. Number 6 is there. It was missing in the list, but it's there on the. If you keep flipping, you'll find it. Number 6, first tashahhud. Do you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. And then number 7, recite tashahhud. Number 8, salams. Number 9, recitation of the imam. And 10 is the sequence. Yes, go ahead.
Sheikh, in Ramadan, why do we pray the witr out loud as well, and in congregation?
Why do we do it out loud? Right.
And in congregation. Because witr is not in congregation.
Only in Ramadan.
Oh no, it isn't.
Well, so first of all, the witr is considered an out loud prayer. Like as opposed to like even if you were praying Fajr by yourself, right? Fajr is considered an out loud prayer, right? Witr like that is considered an out loud prayer. Does that make sense?
But is it prayed in congregation?
So I'm saying there's two different issues. You said why do we pray it out loud and why do we pray it in congregation? You asked two questions in one package.
Okay, so even if you guys are praying like alone and it's a jahriya.
Yeah, so this is a different issue.
Say out loud,
so this is a different issue, right? This is a different issue, right?
Because we never say out loud.
This is a different issue, right? So the scholar. Okay, so let's put that subject to the side, right? And right, because no, I get it. These are intertwined, right? And then the other one was
congregation.
Yeah, why do we pray congregation? Yeah, there's no issue in praying the witr in congregation. Like because everyone's already gathered together, so they just pray it together. We'll get back to the whole jahriya. Do you do them out loud? Do you do them? What is defined as out loud? Like when you pray an out loud prayer, Fajr by yourself, is it similar to praying Dhuhr by yourself, or is there a difference between the two? Right, we'll talk about that. What even counts as recitation? Like if I'm praying Dhuhr, if I say Allahu Akbar, right? I'm just standing there. Now, I can recite Fatiha by moving my lips, or I could recite Fatiha internally. You know what I'm talking about? Right? Now, some of you might not be like, what's going on? But like I'm an imam, I watch people pray sometimes, because you got to learn what mistakes people are doing to correct them, right? A lot of people pray, stand. You don't see any movement on their mouth, right? Like it's just, right? You're like, what's going on here, right? Now, the overwhelming majority of scholars, right? I have heard people say that if you like recite internally, it counts for the recitation, right? I don't know how. This might be my ignorance. I don't know how valid that is, right? Because the overwhelming majority of scholars, they say like for it to count as recitation, whether it's Fajr or Dhuhr by yourself, like for it to count as recitation, there has to be at least movements of the lips, right? So usually, what I've found a lot of scholars, they say that, like for example, the minimum level of recitation of acceptability is the movement of lips. Right, and then like for out loud prayers that are done by yourself, that they're done in a way that at least you can hear yourself. Now that wouldn't be obligatory, but that would be kind of how to implement the sunnah of performing an out loud prayer, so that it's loud enough where you can hear yourself, which is not loud, right? And the movement of the lips could be a silent recitation, right? But a lot of scholars, they say that is the lowest thing that counts as a qira'ah. Like anything less than that would not be qira'ah. I have heard of very, very few people say that, like reciting internally without any verbalization of it, right, counts as qira'ah, but I'm not sold on that. Just does it.
So if you're by yourself and it's an out loud salah, can you recite like fully, like loud?
Yeah, you can. You can recite out loud. Right. Once again, taking into consideration like
you can, meaning female you can, or male you can.
Once again, if the female, there's no one.
Nobody's around.
Yeah, just like, you know what I'm saying. Like for example, like think about it like this, right? Let's say we have in this room just a sisters only congregation, right? The female imam, she can recite out loud. Yeah. So if she's by herself, she can recite out loud. Make sense, right? So she can recite out loud now.
What about sunnahs?
Huh?
What about sunnahs?
What about sunnahs? Sunnahs can be recited out loud, like if it helps the person concentrate or something like that.
Is there like a truth to the fact that you're not supposed to cry in your Fard prayers? heard that it just it's makruh to cry in your first prayers.
I don't know if it's like.
No, not at all.
I mean, usually you don't like induce the crying.
Yeah.
Like, are you
So as
inducing the
if
crying?
you feel like crying, hold it in.
Huh? I mean, generally that's what you're supposed to do. Like, you're supposed to try to hold it in. You're not supposed to like, just like bawl out. No, I'm serious. Like, yeah, sometimes like the emotion comes out and you can't, right? But like, if you've ever heard like an imam when they're reciting and they get emotional, right? You see, like from the fiqh of the imam, usually they just go silent. They just stop. They don't try to get through the verses. You see what I'm saying? They don't, because like you can, and you just kind of like cry, right? There's certain things you want to keep hidden. I'm not saying it shouldn't come out. It does come out, and you don't control it at times. You cannot, right? But a part of that is to try to control it to the best of your ability. Right? That's what I'm saying. When you hear imams recite, usually, like the fiqh is like when they start, they just stop. Clear? Does that make sense?
Is it different when in front of other people rather than by yourself?
So yeah, definitely when you're in front of other people, right? Obviously you want to try to keep it hidden. I'm not saying it can't come out. It can come out. It's natural, right? But you try not to, make a show of it, right? When you're alone, it's different. It's different. So for example, but in your recitation, just for the sake of reciting, you can't cry and recite simultaneously. Does that make sense? As opposed to dua you can. Does that make sense?
But Rasulullah in his tahajjud, he used to cry a lot when he was praying. Right?
Yeah, it's not induced. Like it wasn't you know what I'm saying?
No, he's talking about
It came out naturally.
It came out naturally.
I'm talking about naturally. So why wouldn't somebody want to cry?
Oh, there are people that try just to bring it out so they can show that they're
okay.
Yeah, that's what you know what I'm talking about.
Hawthorne
Right.
stuff?
Huh?
Hawthorne stuff?
No, no, don't make connections. No. No. Yes, Prophet ﷺ would cry and they would hear him cry. Like when a person cries, you hear them cry. Like it's part of the natural process. But he wasn't like wailing. You get what I'm saying? Like if I was leading in prayer and I'm crying, like you're gonna know I'm crying. But if it's very minimal, you might know, and I'm not gonna be like, I'm crying. Right? I'll give you a very once again, a very just personal example, right? Once there was tahajjud, and I was leading. What was I leading? Yeah, I was leading Qiyamul Layl IOC, right? And I was reciting Surah Qaf, right? The portion of Surah Qaf where Allah Subhanahu wa Taala says at the end of the surah. هل من مزيد before that يوم نقول لجهنم هل امتلأت on the day that we will tell the hellfire هل امتلأت, are you filled, right? And the hellfire will respond هل من مزيد, is there more, I want more people. It's a powerful verse, right? Personally I'm just I have I don't look forward to reading those verses, especially if I'm leading, because it's gonna, right? So it brought out some emotion in me, right? So I just stopped reciting. I just stopped for a few seconds. Now if I had continued, right, it's gonna come out, it's all gonna come out, right? Which is fine, right? But even when I held myself in, I could have just not held myself in, you just started crying on the right? But so that's what we're not supposed to do. Right? If it comes out naturally, sometimes you can't. Right? For example, Shaykh Faqih, mashallah, sometimes his recitation, he gets very, very emotional. Right? And sometimes you can tell he's crying, but at the same time you can tell he's trying to withhold that which he can withhold, and there's a natural level that comes out in his crying. Right? Now sure enough, when I stopped, because I was just trying to get there myself, there's a kid in the front row. He was giving me the next verse. Yeah. I was like, dude, I'll get to it.
I don't at what point should people assume that they forgot the verse, or that they're just.
There's a fiqh. There's an understanding to correcting the imam, right? Even like, this is a side tangent. When you correct the imam when they mess up on a verse, right? There's a fiqh to it. Like, you have to know how to do it. It's an art, right? One of the things that Huffaz hate is that, like, if you have like the imam and then like 3-4 imams behind him, right? It's their job to correct that imam. And even usually within those 3-4 imams, there's one of them that is like the main imam, like his job to correct. He's like there's like a role. Even if it's not spoken, it's understood, right? Like, for example, I was leading once with a brother, and sometimes this happens, right? Like, we were on the last night, and I think he was reciting Surah Al-Duha, and he messed up. Like, it happens. Like, usually when you're leading Taraweeh for 27 nights, you'll mess up on stuff that, is like solid, right? I remember Sheikh Farhan saying that, he's like, look, I read Yasin every day. Like, I know Yasin. He's like, but every time I recite it in Taraweeh, I make a mistake, right? It just, it's different, right? So he made a mistake in Surah Al-Duha, and like the whole masjid corrected him. I'm like, dude, like, really? Like, I don't know if you guys ever heard. Sometimes, like, when Imam messes up in Juz Amma, and I've heard this at Masajid, like on the 27th night, 29th night, they'll make, like, guys, if an Imam makes a mistake, we got it. Like, we got it covered up here. Like, we don't need everybody. But like the whole masjid, like, it's like, dude, like, mashallah, like, you think you in the 30th row, your voice was gonna reach? Like, what was the thought process here, right? Not saying anything. Not obviously. People just kind of, they're reading with the imam and they just like blurt it out. Right? I got you. But there's got to be like, some understanding to it, right? Even when the imam messes up, right? Like, if the imam messes up, like, let's say I'm reciting a verse and I mess up, right? And I'm reciting, and I like take the middle of the verse and I go from one surah to another surah, right? Like, from like the understanding, the person behind him to correct him, is that you don't just jump. Like, he made a mistake, let me correct him. Let him get to the end of the wrong ayah. Like, let him get there, wait for his pause, and then come, right? And give him like the beginning of the verse. Don't give him where he messed up, give him the beginning of the verse.
So
right?
He starts all over again.
So he starts all over again. Or you can take him from the beginning of the verse to that portion where he messed up, and give him the right word. Because usually it's usually one word that threw you off, that took you from one surah to another surah, right? So you give him the beginning of the verse with that word in there, or that word in the next few words, right? Now, if, for example, the imam stops, like the imam's reading, because there's different ways the imam messes up, right? There's the first example I gave you. He reads and he just ends up in another surah. He never stops. When he finishes at that verse, then you correct him, right? But like, for example, the imam reads and then he gets stuck, right, in the middle of a verse, right? Okay, this is different. He got stuck. Now you can see it, like, now you can play this two ways. It might just be easier to give the imam the next few words and not take him to the beginning of the verse, and he'll take it. If he doesn't get it, then you give him from the beginning of the verse, right? Also, like, the pace at which you do it at. Some people, they correct very fast. When you're the imam, it's like going through your head quickly. And when you mess up, like, it's wild up there, right? And Zoe and Mona laughing because they know what I'm talking about. It gets really wild up there.
You're like trying to re-brick a wall.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're like, where does this maze start, right? You forget sometimes, like, even if you get stuck sometimes, you forget, how does this verse start? You know it. I'm not saying like, I'm saying something, you'll just forget how the verse starts. So you need, like, to be dealt with gentleness. I don't care, like, I'm serious. Like, this comes from, like, experience of leading Taraweeh, right? And, like, so you need to make sure, like, the way you correct it is, like, it's clear. You go slow. Like, if you say it fast, I'm like, dude's like, right? I'm saying sometimes, people correct you, they correct you real fast. You're like, you're even more confused than when you started,
but
right?
Personally speaking, I find it more confusing if I'm like jumping to another surah, like a completely different surah, and then someone corrects me after I've read the surah, then I'm
just like confused. I'm like, wait, what? Where was I? And then it just like throws me off even more.
I get it, but if you didn't pause, like, so for example, if you didn't see, so even in the imam, like sometimes when like you're reading, right, and you get to, let's say, that middle word that's gonna throw you. If you pause there, right, the person behind you knows you paused, right? But if you're just like going through it, right, and someone like just comes at you like that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're like, what's going on? Like, what is going on? I don't even know I made a mistake. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you won't even hear what they corrected you with, right? So all of this stuff is taken into consideration. Like you'll see, like you stand behind some experienced imams, right? That are correcting other people, or like they're correcting people in Taraweeh. You'll see like they do it with a lot of ease, and they wait, like they really just wait, right? And like let the person finish their mistake, get to the end, and then it comes.
Hey, by the way.
Yeah, like it's like, hey, by the way, you might want to consider this, right? Or like some people, like especially in Taraweeh, like if it's a wow that's missing, like they'll throw in the wow. I'm like, dude, it's not necessary unless it changed the meaning. Remember, like I heard like that like for example at Ma'un Farouk, it was getting a little out of hand, right? So I think Sheikh Raqi implemented a policy, or he told the people like, look, unless like there's like a change in meaning, like a massive change in meaning, then correct the imam. If not, then just please stay silent, right? Because generally the prayer is still valid, like as long as there's no. What did one scholar, he said, as long as you're not putting the people of paradise into hellfire and the people of hellfire into paradise, it's good. Right? Not obviously saying, like, obviously these things are important. People make mistakes in harakat and this and that, right? Certain things they say, you tasamah fi, like you just let it go, right? You can tell the person if you want later on, this and that.
Do you remember the one time you weren't corrected, but someone tried to correct you when you were reading Surah Al-Mulk in Isha?
Yes. Was it Mulk?
Yes, Tabarak alladhi biyadihi al-mulk. Yeah. And you were going towards the very end, and you were like just a few verses away.
Yes, okay, good. Okay, there's a different incident I'm talking about too. Okay, good. So once I was reading Surah Al-Mulk, right? And the problem arises, sorry, I know this is a tangent, but problem arises when you're reading surahs that other people know. Right? And I just want, because when Ramadan, I want you to understand, I don't lead anymore, but I want you to understand the people that you pray behind, like the difficulty of this process, right? Mona, you're going to be leading here a few nights? So you're leading at home, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be leading here.
You're going to be leading here, right? Like the difficulty of what they're going through, right? So I was reading Surah Al-Mulk one day in Isha, right? And look, when I'm reading a surah that I know other people are going to know, like I come in more prepared. Because people are going to be ready to jump. You're dealing with that issue all the time, right? When I read Surah Al-Mulk, it was Salat al-Isha. I made sure I just reviewed Surah Al-Mulk, right? Especially like at the end, like where it's a lot of qul, right? It's again, right? Someone help me out here, man. Huh?
قل هو الذي أنشأكم.
نعم قل هو الذي أنشأكم وجعل, right? قل هو الذي ذرأكم. There we go, right? It's a lot of important, right? So I'm reading in order, and second rak'ah, and I'm like, I got this. Like I'll make it through. Alhamdulillah, no issues. I'm getting through the last few verses, and then someone just throws an ayah at me.
He throws the very last ayah.
And he throws like a last ayah at me, right? And in my head, I'm like, did I make a mistake? I'm like, no, but I know that verse comes at the end. Like, there's no way, like, alhamdulillah, I kept going. I was like, no, I'm gonna rely on myself right now. Sometimes you gotta, depending on how well you know that surah, you gotta either like, I'm gonna trust him or I'm gonna trust myself right now, right? So I was like, I went through it and I was good, right? He came to me, he apologized later. He's like, Sheikh, I was reading with you and I just got excited and I got ahead of myself.
Oh,
like, yeah, right? But once in Isha, I was reciting Baqarah, right? And the end of the first juz, right? So So in the beginning of the first juz, you got like Ya Bani Israel اذكروا نعمتي التي أنعمت عليكم وأوفوا بعهدي, right? And then right after that, Ya Bani Israel اذكروا نعمتي التي أنعمت عليكم وأني فضلتكم على العالمين, right? And then towards the end of the juz, you have again the same thing. Ya Bani Israel اذكروا نعمتي التي أنعمت عليكم وأني فضلتكم على العالمين, right? So I'm reading that last one, right? And dude corrects me, okay? Dude corrects me. I'm reading the second one. He corrects me to the first one. And I'm like, no, I know what I'm doing. I got this, like, right? And he gets upset. So like he raises his voice. This is Aisha. He raises his voice. Like, I'm like, so I raise my voice. Because I'm like, how am I going to get... Because he corrected me, and then I was like, I'm ignoring it, right? Because I know. And then he got louder, so I was like, I'm ignoring it. Then he came a third time. When he came the third time, I'm going to read through this right now. You're not stopping me. Right? But it just like, right? Obviously you try to stay patient, but it just ended Salah. I was like, where's this dude? And I knew where the sound came from. I knew who it was too, exactly. He got up and left. I was like, no, but we need to talk. Yeah. So just correcting the imam in general is you know, is an art.
This reminds me of a time where someone corrected me when I was reading Surah Fatiha, and it was the last word, Dhalleen. I don't know why they corrected me, but for the rest of my Surah I was so thrown off that I could not recite anything after that, and I just had to opt for Al-Max.
Because when you make a mistake, it really plays with your head, right? Like especially like if you're in the beginning stages of like leading, or if like you've just become hafiz or whatever. If you make a mistake in your first rak'ah, like it's gonna. Now you're on edge the whole time. You're just on edge for the rest, right? I remember once I was leading with one of the years I led with another brother. And there was this dude in our masjid, he would always correct him. He would, like, the imam would make mistakes and I was there, but like we had an understanding, like we know how to correct each other. And this dude would just fire. Every time he made a mistake, just bam, bam. Finally, like after 2 rak'ahs on one of the nights, the imam, my friend, he just kind of turned around and I was like, I got this, bro. And I was like, brother, like you need to stop right now. Yeah. Anyways, okay. Next thing, emphasize sunnahs. Emphasize sunnahs, right? We're going through each one. Okay, so we'll list them and then we'll go through them. The emphasize sunnahs. Number 1 is raising one's hand at the tahrima. Raising one's hand at the tahrima. So we've seen the tahrima 3 different times now. We've seen it in the arkan, we've seen it in the wajibat, and now we've seen it in the emphasize sunnahs. Okay? Which, once again, the rukn is something to commence the prayer. Something that marks the commencing of the prayer. The wajib is the saying of Allahu Akbar. So if I stand and I face the qibla and I don't raise my hands and I say Allahu Akbar, has my prayer commenced? Yes? Yes? If I don't raise my hands. Do I need to make sujood sahwi? No, right? Because I left off a sunnah, right? So understanding once again, this is a very technical breakdown of the prayer. So raising one's hand at the tahrima. Number 2, the placement of the hands. Number 3, the opening supplication. Number 4, the ta'awudh, which is the ta'awudh, you can also understand it as the, what's the other name in Arabic? The isti'adha. The isti'adha. Number 5, the basmala. Number 6, the saying of Ameen. Number 7, saying takbir from moving from one position to the next. Right? See it?
Which number is that?
Number 7.
Oh, okay, next time.
Okay. Number 8, the tasbih of ruku'. Number 9, the tasbih of qawma. Qawma is the position between ruku' and going into, basically the standing after ruku', right? Some scholars will refer to it as the qawma. Some others will refer to it as al-i'tidalu ba'da al-ruku'. Okay, they'll say which is the standing straight after ruku'. Number 10, the tasbih of the sajda. Number 11, praying for the Prophet, meaning the salah. And number 12, the du'as.
What's ta'awudh again?
The ta'awudh is the isti'adha. A'udhu billahi min shaitan ar-rajim.
Oh.
We're going to go through each one, but we were just kind of quickly going through them. Right? Okay. Hamza said, if a mistake is made and isn't corrected, does that invalidate the prayer? I'm assuming he's talking about a mistake in the recitation. No, it doesn't invalidate the prayer, if I understand the question correctly. Number one, okay. Raising the hands for the tahrima. It is sunnah to raise both hands during the tahrima until the thumbs reach the earlobes. Till the thumbs reach the earlobes. Yeah, but not like you don't have to, like you see some people flicking the earlobes. You don't have to flick the earlobes, right? I think my dad still does that. I told him, I was like, you don't gotta flick the earlobe, but I think he just kind of grew up on it. So, so until the thumbs reach the earlobes. Now the palm should face the qibla, and the fingers shouldn't be held together, and neither should they be spread apart, but they should be held naturally. Right? So it's not like that, it's not like that, it's just natural. Right? One of the companions, Wa'ib al-Hujr, he narrates the Prophet ﷺ, when he stood for prayer, he would raise his hands until they were in front of his shoulders, and he placed his thumbs next to his ears. Now, women are supposed to raise their hands until their shoulders, right? We talked about the prayer of the women being different, right? So those that say it's different, then it would be here, right? But generally for the prayer, right? You have kind of, the scholars have differed where exactly is the placement of the hands. Is it here? Is it? It's somewhere above the shoulders, close to the ears. The Hanafi specifically mentioned that it's basically closer to the ear for the men, right? With the thumbs reaching the earlobes or at the height or position of the earlobes, right? But it's generally in this position, right? Like I said, with the palms facing the qibla. Sometimes you see people going like this, right? This is not.
It's not. It's this way, even for women?
Yeah. Like even for women, it's this way. It's not this way. Yeah.
It's not this way.
Huh?
It's not this way?
It is. I mean, your palm. You're doing it. Your palms are just not as straight. It's fine. But as long as they're not like this, generally your palms face the qibla. Yeah. Like I get it. Your palms, like this is kind of a little extra movement. Your palms naturally go like that. See, my palm is not like necessarily super straight right now. Right. Like.
This is wrong.
It's got to be a little more closer to open.
That's what we do.
A little closer to open. Right. Now, when you focus on these things, naturally your prayer will slow down. Right? Just like when you focus on wudu and like, hey, did I get the elbow, and you use less water, all of that stuff will naturally slow down. I prayed next to a brother recently at a masjid, and I wasn't leading, right? And I finished praying, right? And I was praying. I had my older daughter next to me in the corner, and then there's like some brother. I didn't even know him. Like he was standing next to me. When we finished prayer, right? He looks at me, and he's like, now the whole time, my prayer was consumed by like my daughter, like what's she doing? Just don't do anything, that I'm gonna regret, We went on Sunday. On Saturday and Sunday, we went mattress shopping. Some life advice, guys. This is very important, okay? When you get older and you have kids, don't go mattress shopping with your kids. Because when you go shopping for mattresses with two young kids, they're going to jump from mattress to mattress to mattress. And they're going to scream and yell. And they're going to think it's like the biggest theme park ever. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, they hated us at every store we went to. It was chaotic, right? What was I talking about?
She was standing next to you.
Yeah, she was standing next to me, right? So he finishes praying, and he's like, brother, it's an honor to pray next to you. I was like, okay, whatever, right? But he's like, but it's also very, very intimidating. Like he felt like I was, Watch it. Now, naturally, when you pray next to a person, you kind of see how they pray, even if you're not looking. Right? And I was like, bro, like I had no idea how you prayed because that one was consuming my prayer, right? Okay, number 2, the placement of the hands. This is the placement of the hands after you say Allahu Akbar. Now, according to the Hanafis, men place the hands below the navel. Men place the hands below the navel, right below the navel. Right below the navel. Technically, right below the navel.
Meaning the hands have to be under, like, so the navel
Yes.
comes here and the hands are below it?
Yes, the hands are below the navel. Right below the navel.
How is that?
What are the other opinions? Is it like with slack?
Isn't it too low?
Would you demonstrate all opinions of how
It'd be like right here. Right? Now what you see people doing is like, this is a little more common.
Yeah.
Right? Technically the position, nothing's wrong with this, just to be clear, right? But right below this is actually the Hanbali position too. Is, right? Hanbalis, some say below the navel, at the navel, right? But here is fine, and you see like the Shafi'is, whatever, it's generally up here.
I was really thrown off the slide once because there's a
Now you might see this. Now you might see this, and I don't know if you've ever seen this. You guys ever seen this?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I've seen.
no, I was thrown off.
Yeah,
That's
he's not. Wallahi, he's not making stuff up. Yeah, no.
That's what I was encouraged when he was to my side, and the whole time I'm just like.
So I guess
No, I'm not making stuff up. He's right. I forgot that. You see this? Right?
It was weird because it's like he's to my right, so his hands are just like
here.
so close to me. I'm just like.
There are some like very, very minority opinions about here, but generally it's all like chest, here, right? But the Hanafis, for the men, it's right below the navel, right?
Are you holding the hand? Is that
We'll get to that.
Is it forearm? Is it the wrist?
I'll tell you what it's definitely not. It's definitely not this. Nothing against this, but it's not this. It's not
A
the
lot of
whole,
people pray that.
not the holding of
But
the shoulder.
Is it the same with the woman?
No. We're gonna. Now remember, all of this, the holding of the hands in general, is sunnah, right? The holding of hands in general is sunnah, right?
What about?
And if you go to some of the Maliki countries, you'll see the people with their hands down, right?
And why is that?
Because there are certain narrations that suggest that Imam Malik prayed with his hands down.
So not all of them. His narrations?
Within the Malikis, like there's, you can ask Shaykh Jibreel, he'll give you the breakdown of what the Maliki position is, the standard opinion is, or whatnot. But some Maliki countries you go to, you'll see that they're leaving their hands hanging. Right? Once again, this holding of the hands is sunnah, right? And even like whether a person's holding their hands below the navel or at the navel or on the chest, right? This is not like people, I don't know if people still do, but people used to make a huge issue about it. It's not, right? Okay. Now, we're talking about placement of the hands, yes. Women place their hands on their chest, right? This is taking the majority opinion, right? That the woman's prayer is different than the man's prayer, right? But we said both opinions exist and both opinions have their arguments, whether the woman's prayer is just like the prayer of the man or is the woman's prayer different, right? So, for example, the narration that you see there on the slide, found in the Musannaf of Ibn Abi Shaybah, he says, I asked Abu Miljaz where one should place one's hand. He said one should place one's right palm over the back of the left. And place both of them under the navel. Right. Like we said, women place their hands on their chest. Right.
So the placement of the hand is the same?
Yes. How it would be. Yeah. But it's just the location is different. Yeah. Okay. Number 3, the opening supplication. The opening supplication, meaning reciting the thana. Okay, first of all, the opening supplication, sometimes, and you'll see this when you study fiqh in Arabic, sometimes it's referred to as thana, and a lot of times it's referred to as, anyone know? Du'a al-istiftah. Du'a al-istiftah. which means literally the dua of opening. Istiftah. Thana would just mean praise.
And there are different types of thana too, right?
Yes. Now, generally, the one the Hanafis mention, right, is which is just solely by itself, it's a thana, is the narration of Umar radiallahu anhu. The narration that Umar does after the tahrim. The Prophet ﷺ would say, "Subhanak Allahumma wa bihamdik wa tabarak ismuk wa ta'ala jadduk wa la ilaha ghayruk." Once again, Subhanak Allahumma wa bihamdik wa tabarak ismuk wa ta'ala jadduk wa la ilaha ghayruk. Right? This is the one that I'm assuming most of you use, right? Some other scholars, some other madhahib, they say that it's not specific to one, but rather, for example, there's another narration that found in Tirmidhi and Abu Dawood that the Prophet ﷺ كان إذا استفتح الصلاة, that when he would open his prayer, he would say, I was reading that other one. No, I'm sorry. The one of Subhanak Allahumma wa bihamdik is found in Abu Dawood and Tirmidhi.
It's Muslim.
Huh?
It says Muslim.
It's interesting. Maybe. No, that's different. That's the tahajjud. Fatir as-samawati wal ard. That was specific to tahajjud. That he would open his tahajjud with that, right? But also one that is found in Bukhari and Muslim is the Prophet ﷺ would say, Allahumma ba'id bayni wa bayna khatayaya. Oh Allah, basically cause a distance or make a distance, separate me from my sins. Allahumma ba'id, distance me, bayni wa bayna khatayaya, from me and my sins. Kama ba'adta bayna al-mashriq wal-maghrib, just like you have caused a distance between the east and the west. Then he would say, Allahumma naqqini min al-khataya. Oh Allah, purify me of my sins. كما ينقى الثوب الأبيض من الدنس, just like a white garment is purified from filth or stains. Then he would say, اللهم اغسل خطاياي بالماء والثلج والبرد. Oh Allah, like cleanse or wash my sins بالماء, which is water, والثلج, which is like snow, and barad is like hail.
That's not thana, that's dua.
Huh? Yeah, so I said that's why for example, Hanafis refer to it as thana, right? Other scholars, they refer to it as du'a ul-istiftah, right? And then under du'a ul-istiftah, they put either the Subhanak Allahumma wa bihamdik, because it's a type of du'a, even the thana is a type of du'a, and the du'a that I mentioned is an explicit du'a. Right? But this, yes, the one that I just mentioned is just du'a, right?
There's no praise of Allah there.
No.
And which madhab follows?
Not really like by madhab here, right? But the Hanafis seem to say like always thana, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika.
Can you say both?
Usually one would be recited. You can switch between the two. Right? But they do, a lot of the scholars generally, so they say for the fard prayer, right? Either sticking to Subhanak Allahumma wa bihamdik or Allahumma ba'id bayni wa bayna khatayaya, right? That one, right? And that's what's been, it seems like, taken from the Prophet ﷺ in his fard prayers, right? Now there's other ones like the one Razan mentioned, وَجَّهْتُ وَجْهِي لِلَّذِي فَطَرَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ حَنِيفًا, that I am facing my face towards the one that originated the heavens and the earth, لَا شَرِيكَ لَهُ وَبِذَلِكَ أُمِرْتُ, which is a long one, right? Which he would do during nafil prayers, right? But the two for fard prayers that almost all scholars mention is Subhanak Allahumma wa bihamdik, and the other one, Allahumma ba'id bayni wa bayna khatayaya kama ba'adta bayna al-mashriq wal-maghrib. Okay. The opening supplication, so we're done with that. Then number 4 is the ta'awudh. We said the other name of the ta'awudh is isti'adha, right? Saying A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. And this is done in the first unit only. This is done in the first unit only. Number 5 is the basmala. To recite Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. According to the Hanafis, this is to be recited silently. There's an ikhtilaf of whether this is recited out loud or silently. According to the Hanafis, this is to be recited silently. Are you going to ask a question about reciting this silently or out loud?
The Awud, would it be a problem if you recite in the other?
It's not. It's just the sunnah is to recite it once. Like it wouldn't nullify the prayer, but once again, the sunnah is to recite it. Or it wouldn't invalidate the prayer. Right? But the sunnah is to recite it once in the beginning of the prayer. Right? The basmala. Okay, so we said this is also to be recited silently. Anas radiallahu anhu, he says that I prayed behind the Messenger of Allah, Abu Bakr, Umar and Uthman, and I didn't hear them reciting the Bismillah out loud. Right? This is kind of the hadith that the majority use, right? That's why you don't hear, like in almost, throughout the world, you don't hear the Basmala by the Imam. But certain scholars, have other proofs. But this is the proof that is used by most that don't recite it out loud, right? Because Anas is saying that I prayed behind the Prophet ﷺ, I prayed behind Abu Bakr, Umar and Uthman, and I didn't hear them reciting the Bismillah out loud. Right? Now the Bismillah is to be recited in every rak'ah. The Basmala is to be recited in every rak'ah.
And that's before the Surah Fatiha and then before the beginning of the Surah. Twice?
No. Definitely before the Fatiha.
And what about when you're reciting Surah?
Yeah.
But if you're reciting from the middle of the surah, right, and you just say,
no, you would just say Bismillah.
You still say Bismillah?
Yeah, you've already recited the isti'adha at the one. That one is sufficient here.
No, but I was talking, if you recite from the middle of the Quran, you would say,
in prayer or outside of prayer? You were taught in prayer or outside of prayer that you do that? Yeah, no.
Specific for that.
Yeah, that's general. Like if you, right? If you anytime you open the Mus'haf, you're gonna start reciting. You're gonna say A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim, right? But like once you say the isti'adha once, like let's say, hypothetical scenario, I need to review a middle portion of Baqarah, a middle portion of Al Imran, right? So I'm sitting down, I open the Mus'haf, I say A'udhu billah, right? So I've done that isti'adha. No longer am I gonna go back to the isti'adha now. Does that make sense? Now I'll recite Bismillah and the middle portion of Baqarah. Then I'll go to Al Imran, Bismillah, and the middle portion of Al Imran.
I've seen a lot of scholars do the other way. So they say Bismillah only one time and then they say Isti'adha every time when they switch around.
I was told that you only say Bismillah when you're starting surah, when it starts with Bismillah.
Sure, I know what you guys are talking about, that you hear A'udhu billahi shaitanir rajim and the person just goes, right? Either way it's fine, you can do that too, right? I guess I'm trying to think about it.
Is there fiqh of reading Quran?
But even saying Bismillah is not problematic. I guess, you can say isti'adha each time you do it. But in prayer you would just, that one would suffice at the beginning. That's a good question. Sorry, there was a point I wanted to mention right now about the Basmala. Yes, okay. Sorry. So we're taking the Basmala as sunnah, right? When you guys did Ulum al-Quran, did you guys take this issue as like Bismillah part of Surah Al-Fatiha or not? Did you guys talk about this or not? Okay. So there's this discussion among scholars, like, is the Basmala by itself, is it a verse from the Quran? Which is a confusing question, right? First of all, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, it's part of a verse in the Quran. In Surah Al-Naml, right? It's a part of the verse. Innahu min Sulaiman wa innahu Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, right? It's part of that verse also. But generally, is it a separate verse, right? Like, is it a verse by itself, or is it a verse from Surah Al-Fatiha, right? And there's a disagreement, is the Basmala part of Fatiha or not? Watch, all the masahif that you guys use, open your mushaf, Mona. What's the first numbered verse in Fatiha? The first numbered verse in Fatiha, in like all the masahif that the overwhelming majority of you use, the Bismillah is the first verse, right? So, because there's this, you don't usually
notice that.
But there's a disagreement, is the Basmala part of Fatiha or not, right? Is it a separate verse or is it part of Fatiha? One argument that was made that was made in argument that it's not part of Fatiha, right? The argument was that everything in the Quran is agreed upon. Like, there's no difference of opinion about what the Quran is. So seeing that there's a difference of opinion about whether the Basmala is a part of Fatiha or not is a sign in itself that it's not part of Fatiha.
Then how?
Do you get the argument?
Yeah.
But then how do they differentiate between? How do they reconcile with the fact that Quran talks about the 7 oft-repeated ayahs?
Yeah, so they number the verses differently.
Oh.
Yeah. No.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's where you get, right? Now here's where it gets interesting, right? So for example, we're taking a lot of the madhahib, you don't recite the Basmala out loud, right? But some scholars, they hold that Basmala is part of Fatiha, right? So they say that if you don't recite the Basmala, then you haven't fully recited. I remember one of my teachers he was asked a question, like in a general study, and he was asked about reciting Basmala. He's saying that if you don't recite the Basmala, then you haven't recited Surah Al-Fatiha in its entirety. So he says that for the majority, that rukn is missing then, or that rukn is not complete. Does that make sense? So just kind of see your way out of this argument and just recite Bismillah all the time.
Which one do you?
Huh?
Which side of the argument do you?
I used to not or whether it's part of the Quran or not.
Whether it's that,
Yeah, it's Allah, I don't know. But I do make it a point, like I make sure that I recite it in my Fatiha, like in every rak'ah.
Sheikh, so the ayah.
Let's not open that door. Let's not open that door.
Yes,
Good question, but let's not open that door.
Sheikh Shahid made a good point about it. About it not being a part of the ayah because of the hadith of Prophet mentioning that, or hadith Qudsi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that the salah is divided even between.
No. Yeah, the salah is divided even, and he starts with Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.
Yeah, so if you take the Bismillah out of it, then it's divided.
Yeah, and that's the narration that also they use, right? The issue you run into in the other argument, right, is the masahif, generally when they print the masahif, they're checked by qurra, like masters in qurra. The problem is the qurra all consider Basmala as part of the Fatiha. That's why all the like if the fuqaha did it, they probably wouldn't have numbered the verse that way. But the qurra, they and I remember one of the qurra saying this, right? Like he was Hanbali himself, and he was like, "Look, like we believe it's part of the verse. Like just look at our masahif that we read out of. Everyone reads out of, right?" He's like, "You guys use the same mushaf, right? Because it's approved by the qurra, right?" So both have their arguments. Okay, we'll stop here. We got through number 5, right? Number 6 is saying Ameen, and we'll continue tomorrow, right? We're going slow, but yani, there's a lot of questions, a lot of issues that arises.
Since it's the last one, it's right there. Saying Abi and Hanafis is quiet.
Yeah, for Hanafis, yeah, it's quiet.
Oh.
And if they don't do that, because
They say Allah. We're talking about Sunnah here.
so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, not it doesn't matter. They're telling you like what is obviously, in their opinion, recommended or best.
So with the opening supplication, let's say you come into Salah late in Jum'ah, and then you know the imam's already reciting.
No, you don't.
You say it.
No, you don't say it.
You just hold the fuck up.
Okay. وصلي إلى محمد.
What about